That is, ancient god? The descendants of the ancient god clan were all shocked. They watched as the ancient god's soul flew out of the first tribe and charged toward the army of monsters and demons. What's that? The monster demon clan and the outsiders were all shocked. Roar! The ancient god's soul roared, shaking heaven and earth. The mountains crumbled under the roar. Boom! Then the soul of the ancient god made its move and slapped at the troops of the monster race and demon race. The palm of the soul of the ancient god was so huge that it could smash tens of thousands of demons into meat paste. Ancient god's soul, it's the ancient god's soul, damn it! A demon king roared. So what if you're an ancient god? I'll kill him. A tiger-shaped demon king with a huge body stood up like a mountain. It stared at the soul of the ancient god with a ferocious look. Buzz! In the next moment, the tiger-shaped demonic devil king pounced directly at the ancient god's soul, bringing with it endless gales as it attacked the ancient god's soul. This demon king was extremely fierce and wanted to tear the soul of the ancient god into pieces. Even though his body wasn't as tall as the knees of the ancient god's soul, he was still very arrogant. Kill, die. The ancient god's soul shouted coldly and pressed his palm down. This palm broke through all of the tiger-shaped demonic king's attacks. It was like pressing a toad onto the ground, pinning the tiger-shaped demonic king to the ground. Boom! 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 The ground exploded, creating a huge crater. Countless demons and devils were affected and died. Ah! The tiger-shaped demonic king let out a blood-curdling screech as it spat out a large mouthful of blood. It had been severely injured in an instant. At this moment, countless demons, fiend kings, and even the god kings of the Qin Heaven Star region were all shocked. The demonic devil king was a divine king expert, but he was suppressed just like that. Quick, come and save me, save me! The tiger-shaped demonic king roared in fear. Kill, die! The ancient god soul shouted as it grabbed the tiger-shaped demonic devil king with both hands. With a powerful pull, it tore the tiger-shaped demonic devil king into two. The terrifying power even annihilated the soul of the tiger-shaped demonic devil king. He was dead. A demon king was killed just like that. Countless demons and devil kings, as well as the experts of the Qin Heaven Star region, were all incomparably shocked. Roar! The ancient god's soul roared and stepped forward. He clenched his fists and punched out continuously, blasting a large number of demons into pieces. Run quickly, run! Countless demons and devils fled frantically. Want to escape? Kill, kill, kill! In the first tribe, the 10 tribe leaders shouted in unison. They controlled the ancient god's soul and charged towards the demons and devil kings, as well as the god kings of the Qin Heaven Star region. The soul of an ancient god was too powerful. It had boundless strength and could destroy the heavens and earth. With a punch, he killed a demon king in the air. Run, run! With that, the demonic devil king and the god kings of the Qin Heaven Star region were all terrified as they fled for their lives. As for the ancient god soul, it abandoned the ordinary fiends and focused on the fiend kings and the god kings of the Qin Heaven Star system. Bang! Bang! The soul of an ancient god could kill a god king with a single punch. With 2 consecutive punches, another 2 demons were killed. It then targeted a god king from the Qin Heaven galaxy and chased after him. No, this god king was the god king from the unique Devil Academy. At this moment, he was extremely frightened and was fleeing for his life. However, how could his speed be compared to that of an ancient god's soul? The soul of the ancient god caught up with him in a few steps and punched out with both fists. Bang! Bang! The god king of the unique Devil Academy was smashed into the ground by the 2 punches of the soul of the ancient god. He spat out a large mouthful of blood, and his body almost cracked. It had to be said that the god kings from the Qin Heaven galaxy were all extremely powerful. The other demons were killed by the ancient god's soul with a single punch, but the god king from the unique Devil Academy was still alive after being hit by 2 punches. However, he was also seriously injured and dying. Save me, save me! The god king of the unique Devil Academy let out a miserable shriek and wanted to call for others to save him. However, the others were all running for their lives, so how could they care about him? Bang! Then, the soul of the ancient god took a step forward and stepped on the body of the god king of the unique Devil Academy. This time he was directly trampled into a pulp of flesh and couldn't be more dead. Then the ancient god soul continued to pursue the other experts. The next one was the god king of the indestructible sword sect. This person was also extremely powerful. Unfortunately, he did not manage to escape and was killed by the ancient god's soul. He followed in the footsteps of the god king of the unique Devil Academy. Returning to the Ice Soul clan's base, the soul of an ancient god was brave and invincible. Strength was too shocking. In addition, it was extremely fast. It could kill ordinary divine kings as if they were vegetables. In a short period of time, 10 demonic devil kings and 5 god kings of the Qin Heaven Star region were killed by the ancient god soul. Their battle results could be said to be brilliant. Boom! The soul of the ancient god attacked another god king. This person was the god king of the Ice Soul clan. "I'm going to die." The Ice Soul clan's god king roared in his heart, thinking that he was dead for sure. However, when the soul of the ancient god arrived in front of him, it didn't continue to attack. Instead, it glanced at him coldly and rushed past him. Then, it attacked the godly king of the Red Flame tribe and killed him in a few moves. The Ice Soul clan's god king had escaped death. He was on the verge of collapse, but he was also very confused. Why didn't the ancient god soul kill me? Strange. Forget it, let's retreat with our clansmen first. The Ice Soul clan's god king rejoiced inwardly. He then led some of the Ice Soul clan members and quickly left the place. They fled in the direction of the base they had built when they came. Naturally, he did not know that the ancient god soul did not kill him because of Lu Ming. Previously, Lu Ming had given the images of some people he wanted to protect to the 10 clan chiefs. The 10 clan chiefs controlled the ancient god's soul and could see what the ancient god's soul saw. The divine king of the Ice Soul clan was one of the images that Lu Ming had depicted. That was why the ancient god's soul had let him go and did not kill him. Kill our way out. Kill all the demons and devils. At that moment, an elder from the first tribe shouted, "Kill!" Following that, the ancient god descendants' army swarmed out and attacked the troops of the monster race and demon race. At this moment, the troops of the monster race and demon race were defeated like a landslide. They had no power to resist and were fleeing in all directions. Not long after, the troops of the descendants of the ancient gods caught up to them and started killing them. The god kings of the 10 great tribes also worked with the ancient god soul to kill the demonic devil kings, the god kings of the Qin Heaven Star system. This was a massacre that lasted for half a day before it came to an end. As the ancient god soul was too far away from the first tribe, it was difficult for the 10 patriarchs to control it, so they stopped the pursuit. The army of the ancient gods tribe returned to the capital. The first tribe was in a sea of cheers. This battle could be said to be glorious as more than 20 demons and devils were killed. One had to know that all the demons and devil kings in the northern desolate demon plains added up to around 40. With more than half of them dead, the demons and devils were greatly weakened and were no longer a match for the descendants of the ancient gods. Over 10 of the god kings from the Qin Heaven Star region had died. The rest had all escaped. When Lu Ming walked out of the Forsaken Land, the first tribe was in a celebratory mood. "It seems like we've won." Lu Ming smiled faintly. After that, the clan leaders of the 10 great tribes met Lu Ming and expressed their gratitude. They even gave him a pile of heavenly materials and earthly treasures. There were many ancient god flowers among them, which Lu Ming accepted without any hesitation. Not long after, the armies of the other tribes started to return to their own tribes. Lu Ming followed the 8th tribe and returned to the 8th tribe. The demons and devils of the 8th tribe and the experts of the Qin Heaven Starfield had left long ago. The 8th tribe was in a state of loaning. All of their treasures had been plundered. Even the blood pond had been taken in, and the blood pond had almost dried up. Someone has entered the blood pool to awaken the ancient god body. The chief of the 8th tribe frowned. He can awaken the ancient god body even if he's not a descendant of an ancient god? Lu Ming was shocked. However, Lu Ming immediately thought of himself. He wasn't a descendant of an ancient god. After a series of opportunities, he had awakened an ancient god body of a shockingly high level. Yes, but it's very difficult. Talent, willpower, and luck are all indispensable. The leader of the 8th tribe nodded. Then, he gave the order to sort out the 8th tribe. Lu Ming stayed in the 8th tribe for another 10 days. At this moment, Lu Ming bade farewell to the clan leader of the 8th tribe. After all, he did not belong here. Sooner or later he would have to leave. Lu Ming, you've been working hard to guard the clan and the gate to this world. If there's an opportunity in the future, you can send some geniuses here to cultivate. The 8th clan leader said. All right, thank you, Chief. Lu Ming nodded. He wondered if the 8th patriarch would kill him with a slap if he knew that he was not a descendant of an ancient god. After that, Lu Ming bade farewell to Gu Ming, Gu Hongshan and the rest. Then, he headed in the direction where they had first entered this world alone. Lu Ming returned to the Ice Soul clan's base after half a month without any trouble. Here, another base had been built. The Ice Soul clan was guarding this place. During this period of time, the 10 large tribes of the descendants of the ancient gods didn't pursue the experts of the Qin Heaven star system. During this period of time, the armies of the 10 large tribes headed north and were fighting with the remnants of the demonic forces. Who is it? Someone shouted as soon as Lu Ming approached. It was a critical period, so the Ice Soul clan was naturally on high alert. It's me, Lu Ming. I want to see your 9th young master. Lu Ming said loudly. It's you, young master Lu Ming. The Ice Soul clan members recognized Lu Ming. Wait a moment. Well, report this to the 9th young master. Someone from the Ice Soul clan went in to report. Soon Bingqing flew out with some people. Seeing that Bingqing was fine, Lu Ming was slightly relieved. Lu Ming, you're alright. That's great. When Bingqing saw Lu Ming, she was also delighted. Brother Bing, how have you guys been all these years? Lu Ming and Bingqing entered the base and started chatting. After the chat, Lu Ming more or less knew about Bingqing's experiences over the years. Back then, after they were scattered, Bingqing followed a few experts of the Ice Soul clan and hid in the forest. Later, they were summoned by the Ice Soul clan's God King and gathered together to act in secret. Later, they joined in the attack on the ancient god descendant. After they were defeated, Lu Ming escaped here and had been on guard. The major forces in the Qin Heaven Star realm suffered heavy losses in the siege of the ancient god descendant this time. There are 15 forces and a total of 15 god kings. A total of 10 died in battle and only 5 survived. Fortunately, the god king of my Ice Soul race is still alive. We're really lucky. Bingqing sighed. Lu Ming smiled. He knew it clearly in his heart and did not say much. After that, Lu Ming learned that the god kings of the unique demon academy, the immortal sword sect, and the scarlet flame tribe were all dead. Lu Ming sneered in his heart. This was just collecting some interest. Lu Ming would not let go of their past grudges. However, although the factions suffered heavy losses this time, the survivors also gained a lot. Many of them attacked the ancient god descendant tribes and obtained great opportunities. The ancient god emperor continued. Bingqing said. A great opportunity? Lu Ming was puzzled. Yes, some people are so lucky that they have cultivated the ancient god's descendant's secret technique, the ancient god body. Once they use it, they can transform into the ancient god's body and their power will increase greatly. Bingqing explained, her eyes filled with envy. The door opens. What? Someone has cultivated the ancient god body? Lu Ming was shocked. Other than him, there were others who had cultivated the ancient god body. This was beyond Lu Ming's expectations. That's right. As far as I know, there are 4 people who have cultivated the ancient god body. There is a divine son from the indestructible sword sect, a holy son from the unique demon academy, an overwhelming prodigy from the red flame tribe, and my 7th brother. Bingqing said. There are 4 people who have cultivated the ancient god body. Lu Ming was also secretly amazed. Lu Ming was well aware of the difficulty of condensing an ancient god body. Even he himself had to go through a series of coincidences, with the help of the quantity formula and the bone demon before he could finally condense it successfully. The fact that the 4 of them had been able to form an ancient god body meant that they were the cream of the crop in terms of talent, luck, and opportunity. From their names, one could tell that the 2 people who had condensed an ancient god body, the unique Devil Academy and the indestructible sword sect, were both at the level of a divine son. Those who could be called divine sons were people who had mastered divine-grade divine power. At the same time, Lu Ming secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Since other people could condense an ancient god body, he would have no qualms about using an ancient god body in the future. If others could practice it, he could naturally practice it too. Whoosh! At this moment cheers came from the Ice Soul Clan's base. Then a few figures flew rapidly towards Bingqing and Lu Ming. What's going on? Bingqing asked. Ninth young lord, good news. The gate has opened and the exit has appeared. We can go out now. One of them said with joy. The gate is open. Bingqing's eyes lit up and she was also overjoyed. That's right. We just received news that the gate has been opened. Many forces are heading towards the gate. One of them reported. Let's go. We're going out too. Bingqing quickly said. The Ice Soul Clan's divine king had already ordered everyone to leave. The Ice Soul Clan members flew toward the exit like locusts. In this world he had stayed for decades. In these decades, he had been living in fear every day and his life was in danger at all times. Especially now that they had been defeated, the descendants of the ancient god could come at any time. Now that the gate was open, everyone was excited and wanted to leave immediately. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived, the huge vortex in the sky had reappeared. It was suspended high in the sky and spinning slowly. Countless figures flew into the vortex and disappeared. In just a short while, more than half of the people had entered the exit. Ouyang Xiangxiang Yu Linglong, Lu Ming swept his gaze and saw Ouyang Qingxiang, Yu Linglong, and the others rushing into the vortex. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He was relieved that Ouyang Qingxiang and the rest were fine. Brother Bing, I'll take my leave first. Lu Ming bade farewell to Bingqing and soared into the sky. He followed Ouyang Xiangxiang and the rest into the vortex. The world spun around him. In the next moment, Lu Ming realized that he had returned to the ancient god star. Not far away, he flew out of the bronze door. The bronze door. At the sight of the bronze door, Lu Ming was reminded of the purple copper coffin and the altar that sealed the soul of the ancient god. After Cho ate that piece of copper from the altar, it fell into a deep sleep. No one knew when it would wake up. However, even if Cho woke up, it wouldn't be able to eat the bronze door. There were many divine king experts staring at the bronze door. Lu Ming. Saint. At this moment a few joyful voices were heard. Then a few figures flew toward Lu Ming. They were Ouyang Xiangxiang, Yu Linglong, Wu Zifeng and Hai Luchang and a few others, but Zhao Feng was nowhere to be seen. It's great that you're all fine. Lu Ming also smiled. Saint, it's a pity that Zhao Feng is dead. Luchang sighed. Zhao Feng's dead? What happened? Lu Ming asked hurriedly. And Hai Zhaofeng and Lu Chang were the first three people from Kongxian sect to join Lu Ming. Lu Ming still valued them. It's the Tianhong saint's son. He killed Zhaofeng. We were defeated by the ancient god race some time ago. We scattered and ran back to the base. When we got close, we ran into the Tianhong saint's son. He suddenly attacked us and killed Zhaofeng, the elder said. And Hai said angrily, Tianhong. Lu Ming's body suddenly exuded a terrifying killing intent. Lu Ming, I'm sorry. I wanted to stop you but it was too late. Ouyang Qingxiang said. It's none of your business. Lu Ming waved his hand. Given the Tianhong saint's son's cultivation and combat strength, even Ouyang Qingxiang would find it difficult to stop him if he wanted to kill someone. Tianhong, you're really looking for death. Lu Ming's eyes glowed coldly as he asked, where is Tianhong? Lu Ming's body exuded an extremely cold killing intent. Ouyang Xiangxiang, Yu Linglong, and the others could not help but tremble. Lu Ming, don't be rash. Even if we look for Tianhong now, we can't do anything to him. Ouyang Qingxiang said. That's right, Saint, we have to take revenge for Zhaofeng, but not now. And Hai also advised. Where is Tianhong? Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he asked again. His voice was decisive and unquestionable. The Tianhong saint's son had tried to kill him time and time again, and Lu Ming had wanted to kill him for a long time. Now that the Tianhong saint's son had killed Lu Ming's desire to kill the Tianhong saint's son had reached its peak. He was going to take revenge now. Seeing Lu Ming's reaction, and Hai and Lu Chang hesitated for a moment before pointing in a direction. I saw the Tianhong saint's son leading his men that way just now. Very good. Lu Ming said coldly. He stepped into the air and headed in that direction. Let's go, well follow. Ouyang Qingxiang's expression changed, and she quickly called a few people to follow. In her heart, although Lu Ming's talent was terrifying, He was definitely not the Tianhong Saint Sun's match now. After flying for a while, they arrived at a mountain peak. On this mountain peak there were some figures, about 7 or 8 people. Lu Ming swept his gaze around but did not see the Tianhong Saint Sun. However, these people were all from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction because Lu Ming had seen a few of them before. Boom! Lu Ming rushed over directly, his powerful aura pressing down on the mountain peak. Lu Ming! It's Lu Ming! On the mountain peak, those people also saw Lu Ming, and their eyes flickered with killing intent. Tell me, where's Tianhong? Lu Ming said coldly. He stood on the peak of the mountain and interrogated them from a higher position. Lu Ming, you're really bold. This is the ancient god star, not the Kongxian sect. How dare you come and look for the saint? An old man sneered. Let me ask you, where is Tianhong? Lu Ming asked again. Brat, what's with your attitude? How dare you talk to me like that? Get down here and kneel down. Die! The old man shouted coldly. His aura surged wildly and condensed into a huge hand that grabbed at Lu Ming. Chapter 2851 Killing Tianhong. The elder from the Tianhong Saint Sun sect formed a huge hand and grabbed at Lu Ming. This was not the Kongxian sect, and he had no qualms about it. Lu Ming had actually dared to come to them. He was simply courting death. Moreover, he was treating them with such a high and mighty attitude. He was simply foolish. He wanted Lu Ming to kneel in front of him and then kill him. He had the cultivation of a third-level celestial deity. Wasn't it almost certain that he would be able to deal with Lu Ming? Stop! At that moment Ouyang Qingxiang and the rest had also arrived. She shouted and was about to help Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming was faster than her. Buzz! A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hands and he swept the spear out. A huge spear light burst out and hit the old man's big hand. Boom! The spear radiance collided with the giant hand. The giant hand shook violently and then shattered. The spear radiance did not stop and continued to press down on the old man. The old man was shocked. He had never expected that a large hand condensed from divine power, with his third-level celestial deity cultivation base, would actually be destroyed by Lu Ming's spear. Mountain-crushing hand. The old man bellowed in anger. He unleashed all his divine energy and performed a divine skill. He struck out a few times in a row and a huge palm print was sent flying towards Lu Ming. It only managed to block Lu Ming's attack with a violent explosion. However, Lu Ming had already launched his second attack. Break the sky! At this moment, Lu Ming had already activated his fourfold combat strength and cast the 3 apocalyptic strikes. A dazzling spear ray burst out and attacked the old man. Buzz! The spear's radiance was as dazzling as a meteor from outer space. It pierced through all of the old man's defenses and then went through his body, nailing him to the ground. Ah! The old man didn't die. He was nailed to the ground by the long spear. He let out a miserable and terrified scream. At the same time he was deeply shocked. He went all out but was not Lu Ming's match and was crushed by Lu Ming. Had Lu Ming's abilities already reached this level? The others, including Ouyang Qingxiang and the others, were also stunned. They clearly did not expect Lu Ming to be so powerful. This scene had exceeded their expectations. However, Ouyang Qingxiang reacted quickly. Her figure flashed and she stood on the mountain peak. A powerful aura emanated from her and pressed down on the other people from the Great Hong sect, causing them to not dare to move. The highest cultivation level among them was only at the 4th level celestial deity realm. They were not Ouyang Qingxiang's match at all. Speak, Tianhong, where is he? Lu Ming asked coldly. The saint has already returned to the Kongxian sect. The old man said with a pale face. I went back first. Very good, I'll send you on your way. Lu Ming said coldly. No. The old man roared and wanted to struggle. However, Lu Ming shook his spear and a terrifying energy burst out from his body. Bang! The old man's body was torn into pieces, and he died on the spot. The rest of the people from the Great Hong sect turned pale and broke out in a cold sweat. They were afraid that Lu Ming would kill them too. Get lost! Lu Ming waved his hand, put away the long spear and shouted coldly. Yes, those people felt as if they had been granted amnesty. They nodded and bowed before running away in a sorry state. Let's go back to the Kongxian sect, Lu Ming said. With that, his figure soared into the sky. Ouyang Qingxiang and the others looked at each other before following Lu Ming and soaring into the sky. At a high altitude, Lu Ming took out the Starry Sky warship. Everyone boarded the Starry Sky warship and flew to another planet with a teleportation array. Lu Ming, are you going back to look for Tianhong? Ouyang Qingxiang couldn't help but ask in the starship. Why can't I? Lu Ming said. Lu Ming, Tianhong is no ordinary person. His combat strength is far beyond ordinary people. He's not that easy to deal with, Ouyang Xiangxiang explained. Did his cultivation level increase in the past few years? What's your cultivation level now? Lu Ming asked again. He should still be at the 4th level celestial deity realm, but he has already reached the peak of the 4th level celestial deity realm, Ouyang Qingxiang said. Still at the 4th level celestial deity realm. That's easy. Let's go back and kill Tianhong. Lu Ming laughed. Ouyang Qingxiang and the rest looked at each other. They did not know why Lu Ming was so confident. Although Lu Ming's combat strength was very strong earlier, a 3rd level celestial deity expert was easily crushed by Lu Ming. However, the Tianhong Saint's son wasn't an ordinary person. If he wanted to kill a 3rd level heavenly god, one move would be enough. Not long after, they arrived at a planet near the ancient god star. Then, they took the teleportation formation and rushed back to the Kongxian sect. As soon as he returned to the Kongxian sect, Lu Ming rushed to the residence of the Tianhong Saint's son. Like Ouyang Xiangxiang, the Tianhong Saint's son lived on a huge mountain peak with many grand and gorgeous palaces. Many people from the Tianhong Saint's son's faction were stationed on the mountain. Who is it? The people from the Tianhong Saint's son sect discovered Lu Ming and the rest as soon as they approached. It's Lu Ming and Holy Maiden Qingxiang. Then the group of people recognized Lu Ming and the rest. Where's Tianhong? Get him out here. Lu Ming stood in the sky and shouted. Lu Ming, how dare you? One of the people from the Tianhong Saint's son's faction was furious. You're too noisy. Tianhong, come out and die. Lu Ming's loud roar was like a thunderclap. His rumbling voice reverberated in the area. That is, Lu Ming. Lu Ming actually provoked the saint directly. He's really looking for death. He's simply tired of living. Lu Ming's voice alarmed the other people from the Tianhong Saint's son's sect. Many people flew out from the buildings and stared at Lu Ming with ill intentions. Many people mocked him. Lu Ming. At this moment, a cold voice sounded. A young man stepped out of a luxurious palace and stood high in the sky, emitting a cold killing intent. The Tianhong Saint's son had appeared. Tianhong, you're here indeed. Very good. Lu Ming said coldly. Lu Ming, you're really lucky. You didn't die even in that kind of environment. I have to admire your luck. Now why are you looking for me? The Tianhong Saint's son sneered. He then glanced at Anhai, Lu Chong, and the others. Oh right, I killed one of your men before. You're not here to seek revenge for him, are you? Ha ha ha. The Tianhong Saint's son laughed exaggeratedly. I'm now officially challenging you to a life and death battle. Do you dare to accept my challenge? Lu Ming spoke word by word, his voice spreading far and wide. The entire place fell silent. Everyone looked at Lu Ming in a daze. Lu Ming actually wanted to challenge the Tianhong Saint's son for a life and death battle? Many people thought they had heard wrong. What was Lu Ming's cultivation? He was only at the true God realm. He had only become the saint because the sect master had made an exception and promoted him. Now, he was actually going to challenge the Tianhong Saint's son to a life and death battle? A true God realm? Lu Ming, don't be rash. Ouyang Qingxiang quickly sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. At the same time, Yu Linglong, Wu Zifeng, and Hai, and the others also sent Lu Ming a voice transmission, advising him not to be rash. Chapter 2852 Decisive Battle against Tianhong. Ouyang Xiangxiang, Yu Linglong, and the others all thought that Lu Ming had challenged the Tianhong Saint's son in a fit of rage because Zhao Feng had been killed. And Hai and Lu Chong were greatly touched. How could they not be touched when he treated a subordinate like this? He secretly swore in his heart that he would do his best for Lu Ming. Alright, I promise you. The Tianhong Saint's son himself was stunned for a moment before he responded loudly. What a joke. How could he miss such a good opportunity to kill Lu Ming? He immediately agreed, afraid that Lu Ming would go back on his word. All right. Lu Ming nodded and took out a piece of paper. He forced out a wisp of blood and wrote the words life and death duel on the paper. He then signed his name on it. With a wave of his hand, the letter of life and death duel flew toward the Tianhong Saint's son. The Tianhong Saint's son took it and a trace of doubt flashed in his eyes. Lu Ming's decisiveness and calmness made him uneasy. Humph, no matter what, he's at the true God realm. He's only been here for 100 years. How strong can he be? I'm overthinking. The Tianhong Saint's son shook his head to get rid of the uneasiness in his heart. Then, he also forced out a bit of blood and signed his name on the life and death duel. Lu Ming waved his hand and kept the life and death duel letter. Tianhong 3 days later, on the life and death battle stage, the first move life and death. Having said that, Lu Ming turned around and left. Ouyang Qingxiang and the rest followed Lu Ming and left. Lu Ming, are you confident? Ouyang Qingxiang sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming in a low voice. 80%. Lu Ming answered. Ouyang Qingxiang's beautiful eyes flickered. She was shocked that Lu Ming was 80% confident that he could defeat the Tianhong Saint's son. He could tell that Lu Ming must have had a fortuitous encounter, and his cultivation had already reached the 8th tier of true God. However, there was still a huge gap between an 8th tier true God and the Tianhong Saint's son. Could Lu Ming really cross such a huge gap and fight the Tianhong Saint's son? Ouyang Qingxiang and the others had looks of anticipation in their eyes. Lu Ming, I'll kill you in 3 days. The Tianhong Saint's son waved his sleeves and returned to the palace. Not long after, the news of the life and death battle between Lu Ming and the Tianhong Saint's son spread like wildfire throughout the entire Kongxian sect. The entire Kongxian sect was shaken, and a huge commotion was set off. Upon hearing this news, countless people were dumbfounded. Lu Ming is going to have a life and death battle with the Tianhong Saint's son? Is that true? He doesn't want to live anymore? It must be true. The life and death duel has been signed. Well, fight in 3 days. Lu Ming must be crazy. Isn't he seeking his own death? Who knows? Let's just wait and see in 3 days. The Kongxian sect's 8 holy sons and holy virgins will probably return to 7 soon. Many people were discussing in shock, but the public opinion was almost one-sided. They felt that Lu Ming was overestimating his ability. A few decades ago, when the sect master had just conferred Lu Ming the title of saint, Lu Ming had displayed his combat abilities. At that time, he could only fight with an expert on the real god ranking list. How far was the real god ranking list from the fighting power of the Tianhong Saint's son? Many people couldn't cross it in their entire lives, let alone decades. The Kongxian sect, the experts of the various sects, the holy sons and holy virgins had all returned from the ancient god star and were all paying attention to this matter. Many elders even came out of seclusion to pay attention to the battle between the saints. Just like that, 3 days passed by in a flash. 3 days later, the life and death battle stage of the Kongxian sect was surrounded by people. The outer sect disciples, deacons, and elders of the Kongxian sect. There were more than 100,000 inner disciples, inner deacons, and inner elders. There was a sea of people, all here to watch this great battle. This life and death battle was of great significance. One of the saints was destined to fall. If the Tianhong Saint's son won and killed Lu Ming, the situation in the Kongxian sect would return to the past, where there were 5 saint sons and 2 saintesses. Once Lu Ming won, the situation in Kongxian sect would change drastically. Lu Ming would rise to power and many people would join his faction. He would suppress the other holy sons and holy virgins and even compete with the supreme holy son. Not only these people, but almost all the other holy sons and holy virgins had come, but they were hiding in the dark. Who do you think will win, Tianhong or Lu Ming? Holy Son Jixia asked the other holy sons and holy virgins. That goes without saying. It's definitely Tianhong. More than 50 years ago, Tianhong and I went to stop him in the world of ancient gods, but he didn't even dare to let out a fart. He only managed to survive with Ouyang Qingxiang's help. Do you think he can fight Tianhong? I guess he had some fortuitous encounter in the world of ancient gods, and his strength has improved, so he is full of confidence. Just wait for death. The sacred son sneered. The other holy sons and holy virgins looked thoughtful. The Tianhong Saint's son is here. Someone shouted. Then everyone saw a group of people walking through the air. The person in the lead was the Tianhong Saint's son. He was dressed in luxurious clothes and looked mighty and domineering. A group of experts followed behind him. Many of them were inner court elder-level experts. A vast pressure spread out and it was awe-inspiring. The Tianhong Saint's son took the lead and landed on the life-and-death battle stage. Lu Ming is here. Someone shouted again. In another direction, Lu Ming came with An Hai and Lu Chang. Compared to the Tianhong Saint's son, the scene was much more awkward. A saint only has 2 subordinates. That's funny. When he's killed by the Tianhong Saint's son, he'll only have 2 subordinates. That'll be a new record for the Kongxian sect. Ha ha ha. Some people who had a grudge against Lu Ming mocked him. Lu Ming had a cold smile on his face. Let's see if these people can still laugh after a while. Buzz. Lu Ming took a step forward and landed on the fighting ring. Lu Ming, you really have the guts to come. Very good, very good. The Tianhong Saint's son glared at Lu Ming with a dark look. It's very good. Cut the crap and make your move. Lu Ming sneered. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The Tianhong Saint's son's eyes turned ferocious. His body began to swell. He was covered in scales and turned into a dragon man. Great Sun Dragon Claw Hand. The Tianhong Saint's son shouted. He took a step forward and swept toward Lu Ming like a gust of wind. His claws were no different from a dragon's claws as he kept trying to grab Lu Ming. This was a terrifying divine technique that had been cultivated by the Tianhong Saint's son to the 6th level. With the Tianhong Saint's son's 4th level celestial deity cultivation, and the support of his sacred grade divine power, it was terrifyingly powerful. It could tear apart a mountain range that was millions of miles long. If the life and death battle stage had not been reinforced with a powerful array, it would not have been able to withstand the attack of the Tianhong Saint's son. Boom! A loud explosion erupted from within Lu Ming's body. The battle symbol art quadrupled his combat power. Lu Ming activated it. At the same time, 6 divine flames burned fiercely, providing him with strong divine power. 9-layer crimson gold armor, 3 world-destroying strikes. In an instant, Lu Ming cast 2 types of divine skills. Chapter 2854 Dermic Dao Battle. Lu Ming cast 2 divine skills. The 9-fold golden armor, and the 3 apocalyptic strikes. One was to protect the body while the other was to attack. Whoosh! 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 Lu Ming thrust his long spear more than 10 times in a row. In an instant, more than a dozen spearlights appeared in the sky like meteors, heading toward the Tianhong Saint's son. Buzz! Buzz! Whoosh! The spear radiance collided with the Tianhong Saint's son's dragon claw. There was a series of clashing sounds and sparks flew. In the blink of an eye, the 2 of them exchanged more than a dozen moves. Bang! Bang! Following that, a figure retreated rapidly, taking more than a dozen steps back before he could stabilize himself. The figure was Lu Ming. Lu Ming has retreated. He's no match for them. That's scary. Lu Ming actually managed to block the Tianhong Saint's son's attack. Even if he retreated, his strength is still shocking. This scene still shocked many people. They were not surprised that Lu Ming had retreated, but that he had blocked the Tianhong Saint's son's attack. Many people had imagined that Lu Ming would be killed by the Tianhong Saint's son in seconds. No wonder Lu Ming dared to challenge the Tianhong Saint's son and have a death match with him. He's so powerful. However, he's still too confident and underestimated the Tianhong Saint's son. I don't think the Tianhong Saint has used his full strength yet. That's right, the result is already decided. Some of the inner court elders nodded their heads as they evaluated. Lu Ming, is this your ability? You've indeed improved a lot, but you still have to die. Kill. The Tianhong Saint's son shouted coldly and launched a storm of attacks at Lu Ming. The dragon claws on his hands and even the sharp claws on his legs attacked Lu Ming in succession. Break the air, break the air. Lu Ming kept performing the sky-breaking move. Beams of spear radiance burst out and stabbed at the Tianhong Saint's son. At the same time, the 9 ice chains flew out like 9 long snakes. They emitted a shocking coldness and wrapped around the Tianhong Saint's son. Now that Lu Ming's cultivation had advanced to the 8th stage True God realm, the power of the ice shackles would naturally be stronger. The 9th ice chain, in particular, had a shockingly low temperature. Even the Tianhong Saint Sun was rather wary of it. He had to avoid the ninth ice chain carefully and did not dare to face it head-on. Every time they clashed, a terrifying coldness would enter his body and try to freeze his divine power and blood. Dragon Wing Slash. The Great Sun Dragon Claw Hand wasn't the only divine skill that the Tianhong Saint Sun had cultivated. He used another divine skill, Dragon Wing Slash. A pair of wings extended from his back and slashed at Lu Ming like two heavenly blades. This divine skill was both a speed-type divine skill and an attack-type divine skill. It was extremely profound. The power of such a skill, combined with the Great Sun Dragon Claw Hand of the Tianhong Saint Sun, was even more shocking. A saint-level figure was indeed powerful. Buzz! Lu Ming performed the 9 heavenly Kuan-Peng technique. He dodged and fought with the Tianhong Saint Sun at the same time. For a moment he was at a complete disadvantage. However, Lu Ming's divine skills, the ice chains, and the divine power that was constantly flowing out of the quantity formula, put the Tianhong Saint Sun at a disadvantage for the time being. However, it would not be easy for the Tianhong Saint Sun to defeat Lu Ming. Both parties exchanged dozens of moves in a row. Lu Ming was in a precarious situation, but he was blocked by him. Lu Ming did not use his ancient god body at once. First, he wanted to see how strong a saint-level figure was. Second, he wanted to use the Tianhong Saint Sun to train his own divine skills. Obviously, the Tianhong Saint Sun had also seen through Lu Ming's thoughts. Kid, you actually want to use me to hone your divine skills. Go to hell, divine dragon materialization art. The Tianhong Saint Sun roared and finally used his secret skill. A 7-clawed divine dragon appeared above the Tianhong Saint Sun's head. It was 10,000 meters long. 7 claws. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. In the past, the Tianhong Saint Sun's divine dragon phenomenon could only form a 6-clawed divine dragon. Now he could form a 7-clawed divine dragon. One had to admit that the Tianhong Saint Sun was very talented. He had cultivated the divine dragon materialization technique, but it was incomplete. However, he had managed to cultivate the 7-clawed divine dragon phenomenon. Tear him apart, die! The Tianhong Saint Sun shouted. He controlled the divine dragon Dharma Laksana and charged at Lu Ming. Do you think you're the only one who has the divine dragon phenomenon? Come out! Divine dragon! Lu Ming shouted in a low voice. A divine dragon image also appeared above his head. However, it was a 9-clawed divine dragon. Many people were shocked. They did not expect Lu Ming to know the divine dragon materialization technique, and the divine dragon he condensed was a 9-clawed divine dragon. Roar! The 9-clawed divine dragon roared and pounced at the Tianhong Saint Sun's 7-clawed divine dragon. The two divine dragons wrestled in the air. However, Lu Ming's 9-clawed divine dragon Dharma form was at a slight disadvantage. Although the power of the divine dragon phenomenon was related to the divine dragon's level, and the more dragon claws there were, the more powerful it was, it also had a lot to do with one's cultivation. The stronger one's cultivation was, the stronger the divine dragon phenomenon would be. A divine king could easily crush a 9-clawed divine dragon Dharma power formed by a divine realm expert, even if it was just a 5-clawed divine dragon Dharma power. The logic was the same. Although Lu Ming's divine dragon Dharma power was a 9-clawed divine dragon, his cultivation base was far weaker than the Tianhong Saint Sun's. Therefore, in the battle between Dharma powers, his divine dragon Dharma power was at a disadvantage. So what if you've condensed a 9-clawed divine dragon? You're still not my match. Just wait for your death. The Tianhong Saint Sun roared, but he was so jealous that he was about to go crazy. He had cultivated for a long time, given his all, and spent God knows how much effort to condense the 7-clawed divine dragon phenomenon. On the other hand, Lu Ming had condensed a 9-clawed divine dragon phenomenon not long after he obtained the divine dragon phenomenon art. It would be strange if he was not jealous. As long as I kill him, the complete divine dragon materialization technique will be mine. I'll be able to condense the complete 9-clawed divine dragon materialization sooner or later. The Tianhong Saint Sun's eyes were filled with greed. He attacked Lu Ming with all his might. Lu Ming was in a precarious situation. Tianhong, it seems like you've used all your strength. However, I'm still far from using my full strength. Lu Ming's mocking voice was heard. What? Many people were shocked. Lu Ming's ability was far from being fully unleashed? You're bragging, right? It was already beyond everyone's expectations that Lu Ming could fight with the Tianhong Saint's son until now. Was there still more strength that he had not used? I don't believe it. Most people didn't believe it at first. Don't even think about messing up my state of mind with just a few words of yours, the Tianhong Saint's son said coldly. He did not believe that Lu Ming had yet to unleash his full strength. He thought that Lu Ming was trying to trick him and disturb his state of mind so that he would have some scruples and could not unleash his full strength. In fact, most people thought the same. You're too naive to think that you can use this method to deal with Tianhong. Indeed, it's child's play, the holy sons Jixia and Fu Guang sneered. But the next moment, their eyes almost popped out. Chapter 2854 Killing Tianhong. Tianhong, open your dog eyes wide and see what it means to be a frog in a well. Lu Ming's indifferent voice spread throughout the entire venue. Then, a powerful aura burst out of his body. Then, his body swelled up rapidly and became bigger and bigger. Finally, he became 100 meters tall. His body was covered in green scales, as if an ancient god had appeared. Ancient god body. Lu Ming had finally used his ancient god body. After transforming into the ancient god body, Lu Ming's strength increased dramatically. He felt as if he had endless power. Buzz! Lu Ming's long spear swept out. It was as huge as a mountain range, and it pressed down on the Tianhong Saint's son. Thump! The Tianhong Saint's son's dragon wing slash hit the spear radiance, creating a deafening boom. Terrifying shockwaves spread out of the battle platform and in all directions. Buzz! Then, a figure stepped on the void and retreated. This time, it was the Tianhong Saint's son who was retreating instead of Lu Ming. This is the body of the ancient god. My god, it's the ancient god body. Lu Ming has also condensed the ancient god's body. He must have had a great encounter in the ancient god world. It's terrifying. It's too terrifying. As far as I know, only the divine sons of the unique Devil Academy and the indestructible Sword Sect, as well as the two peerless geniuses of the Ice Soul Clan and the Red Flame Clan, have obtained great opportunities in the ancient god world and cultivated the ancient god body. I didn't expect that Lu Ming has also cultivated the ancient god body. Furthermore, his scales are green. That's the 4th level of the ancient god body. It's terrifying. This is Lu Ming's trump card. Unbelievable. This battle is going to be a mystery. Lu Ming had used his ancient god body, causing an uproar at the scene. Many of them had entered the world of ancient gods and knew about the ancient god body. They were even more shocked. He hadn't expected that, aside from the 4 geniuses, there would also be someone else from the Kongxian sect who had obtained an ancient god body. Envy, jealousy, and hatred were the feelings of most people. Ancient god body, The Tianhong Saint's son was also extremely shocked. I'll use it to kill you, Lu Ming said coldly. He held his spear and charged at the Tianhong Saint's son. So what if you have the ancient god body? You still have to die. Kill, kill, kill. The Tianhong Saint's son roared madly and unleashed all his strength. The 7-clawed divine dragon roared into the sky and finally gained the upper hand. It tore apart the 9-clawed divine dragon that Lu Ming had condensed and pounced at him. At the same time, the Tianhong Saint's son used the Great Sun Dragon Claw Hand and the Dragon Wing Slash to attack Lu Ming. Break the sky. Moonslaying. Lu Ming waved his long spear and used the 3 apocalyptic strikes in a row to fight the Tianhong Saint's son. Before Lu Ming had used his ancient god body, he had been at a complete disadvantage against the Tianhong Saint's son. However, when Lu Ming used his ancient god body, his combat strength skyrocketed, and he suppressed the Tianhong Saint's son. Bang! 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 The two of them kept clashing in the fighting ring. Every time they clashed, the Tianhong Saint's son would stagger backward. He was completely suppressed by Lu Ming. One had to admit that the Tianhong Saint's son's combat strength was extremely strong. If it were an ordinary 4th-tier celestial god, Lu Ming would have been crushed and killed in one move when he unleashed his ancient god body. However, the Tianhong Saint's son was able to fight fiercely with Lu Ming, which showed his strength. However, Lu Ming was still stronger. Ice Chain's Divine Dragon Phenomenon. In the middle of the battle, Lu Ming used 2 secret skills, the Ice Chain and the Divine Dragon Materialization Technique, to interfere with the Tianhong Saint's son. The Tianhong Saint Sun was already no match for him. Now he was even less of a match. Bang! He was caught by Lu Ming's nine-clawed divine dragon phenomenon in a moment of carelessness. The dragon claws almost pierced through his body and sent him flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood as a bloody wound appeared on his body, and blood flowed out. Then Lu Ming's spear swept across the Tianhong Saint Sun. Bang! Gotcha! The Tianhong Saint Sun's body made cracking sounds. Many of his bones were broken. He slid for a long distance on the fighting ring. He lay on the ground and spat out blood. He had no more strength to fight. He was defeated. The Tianhong Saint Sun had been defeated. Everyone was silent as they looked on in a daze. Some people were even dumbfounded. This scene was beyond the expectations of most people. Before the great battle, almost no one thought that Lu Ming could defeat the Tianhong Saint Sun. They all thought that Lu Ming was seeking his own death. Who would have thought that this would happen? The fourth-level celestial deity, the Tianhong Saint Sun, was actually defeated by the eighth-level true god, Lu Ming. He was lying on the ground like a dead dog. Bang! Lu Ming landed on the ground and strode toward the Tianhong Saint Sun. His cold killing intent made the Tianhong Saint Sun tremble. Lu Ming, what do you want to do? The Tianhong Saint Sun shouted in fear. What do you want? Of course I'm going to kill you. Do you even need to ask such a naive question? Lu Ming sneered. No, you can't kill me. I'm the saint of the Kongxian sect. You can't kill a saint randomly. The Tianhong Saint Sun roared. This is a life and death battle. Don't make it sound so laughable. Lu Ming's footsteps did not stop. His killing intent grew colder. Stop. You can't kill the Tianhong Saint Sun. At this moment, someone outside the fighting ring shouted. A powerful aura filled the air and pressed toward Lu Ming, causing him to narrow his eyes. The person who attacked was an inner elder of the Kongxian sect. He was Yingcong's master, a peak heavenly god, and a core figure of the Tianhong sect. Naturally, he could not just watch the Tianhong Saint Sun die at Lu Ming's hands. However, there were people from Ouyang Qingxiang's faction who hoped that the Tianhong Saint Sun would die at Lu Ming's hands. An inner sect elder from Ouyang Qingxiang's faction also released a powerful aura and blocked the aura of Yingcong's master. The two saints have signed the letter of challenge to a life and death battle. No one is allowed to interfere, so don't break the rules. The inner court elder from Ouyang Qingxiang's faction said coldly. Ridiculous. Tianhong is a saint. It's so difficult to give birth to a saint. How can he be killed just because of a life and death duel? Yingcong's master shouted. The life and death duel is a rule that has been formed in the cultivation world for hundreds of millions of years. How can we change the rules because of him? The inner court elder from Ouyang Qingxiang's faction did not back down. As for Lu Ming, he could not be bothered to waste his breath and attack directly. Tianhong, rest in peace. Lu Ming said coldly and thrust his long spear at Tianhong. Ah! The Tianhong Saint Sun screamed. You dare to? Yingcong's master shouted, but he was blocked and couldn't help. As for the other powerhouses, they just watched coldly from the side. Indeed, after signing the deathmatch agreement, life and death would be decided, and no one had the right to interfere. Whoosh! The long spear pierced through the air, causing everyone's hearts to beat wildly. The Tianhong Saint Sun tried his best to dodge, but he was too severely injured to do so. The long spear pierced through the Tianhong Saint Sun's forehead. The Tianhong Saint Sun let out an unwilling scream. His eyes widened as his life force was rapidly drained. In the blink of an eye, the Tianhong Saint Sun had lost all signs of life. The Tianhong Saint Sun had fallen. Chapter 2856. One after another. CSISI. Gasps could be heard at the scene. It was a shocking scene to see a saint being killed in front of him. The Tianhong Saint Sun had been in the Kongxian sect for a long time. He could be said to be a true overlord of the sect. He was a peerless genius and had the potential to rule the sect in the future. However, he had died before the fight for the position of the sect leader had even officially begun. Moreover, he had died at the hands of a new disciple who had only joined the sect for about 100 years. It could be said to be a tragedy. Buzz! Lu Ming waved his hand and grabbed the Tianhong Saint Sun storage ring. Damn it, damn it! Yingcong's master roared angrily. He was so furious that he wanted to cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. Once the Tianhong Saint Sun died, he would not be able to achieve his goal. Initially, he had wanted to help the Tianhong Saint Sun become the sect leader. Once the Tianhong Saint Sun became the sect leader, his status would definitely rise. He would definitely be able to suppress the other inner elders in the Kongxian sect. But now everything was ruined. Lu Ming, just you wait. Ing Song's master growled in his heart. Then he looked at the other people from the Tianhong sect and said, "Let's go, take the saint's corpse, let's go." However, no one moved. The eyes of the people from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction flickered. Now that the Tianhong Saint Sun was dead, there was no need for their faction to exist anymore. They would definitely fall apart. Since they were going to split up, they had to choose other backers. Lu Ming had killed the Tianhong Saint Sun. His talent was shocking. Among the other Saint Sons and Saintesses, the only one who could compete with Lu Ming was the Supreme Saint Sun. Given Lu Ming's talent, his chances of becoming the sect leader in the future were very high. This made many people in the Tianhong sect plan in their hearts. Some of them were even considering whether they should join Lu Ming. "You guys, what are you guys trying to do?" Ing Song's master was an elementalist. He glared at those people with anger. Those people avoided the elementalist's gaze and did not look him in the eye. Some of them were even unafraid of the elementalist's gaze. After all, the elementalist was not the only inner elder in the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. "Good, you ungrateful things, very good, die." Ing Song shouted angrily and left with the Tianhong Saint Sun's body. "Lu Ming, your talent is unparalleled. There's no one like you in Kongxian sect since ancient times. I'm Rong Hao, and I wish to join the saint and serve him in the future to help him become the sect leader." An elder flew out and bowed to Lu Ming. "You're from Tianhong?" Lu Ming's gaze swept toward this person. It was in the past, but Tianhong was stubborn. He dared to go against Holy Sun Lu Ming. He deserved to die. To be honest, I've admired Holy Sun Lu Ming's reputation for a long time and wanted to join him. It's just that Tianhong had been suppressing it, so I didn't join him. Rong Hao revealed a flattering smile. Many people looked at him with disdain. Rong Hao was truly despicable. The Tianhong Saint Sun had just died, and he immediately sought refuge with Lu Ming. He even belittled the Tianhong Saint Sun. However, Lu Ming smiled and did not reject her. He said, "Since you want to join me, then fine, you can follow me from now on." In this situation, there was no need to refuse. If Lu Ming wanted to expand his influence, he would have to accept Rong Hao in public. In that case, there would definitely be more people who would side with Lu Ming, including those from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. Many people from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction had opposed Lu Ming in the past and wanted to join him. Naturally, they had many concerns and were afraid of Lu Ming's revenge. However, their eyes lit up when they saw that Lu Ming had even accepted Rong Hao. Everyone in the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction knew that once the Tianhong Saint Sun died, they would either join other factions or remain neutral. However, in Kongxian sect there were many major factions. It was not good to be neutral. Since he wanted to seek refuge, he might as well seek refuge with Lu Ming. As expected, many people's eyes lit up. "I'm willing to join Holy Sun Lu Ming. I'm also willing to follow Holy Sun Lu Ming in the future." Many people stood up immediately. They were all from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction and expressed their willingness to join Lu Ming. "All right." Lu Ming nodded and accepted them one by one. This moved even more people. Many people who were originally neutral also showed signs of interest. Lu Ming had risen to power and displayed unparalleled talent. Many neutral people were tempted and were considering whether to join Lu Ming's faction. "Humph, humph." The sacred son snorted. His eyes were extremely cold, but there was a hint of fear in them. He was almost as powerful as the Tianhong Saint Sun. Now that the Tianhong Saint Sun had been killed by Lu Ming, he was probably no match for Lu Ming either. He knew that Lu Ming's rise was unstoppable. The sacred son of reflection turned around and left with a dark face. The other holy sons and holy virgins also glanced at Lu Ming with grave eyes and left one after another. Lu Ming. The supreme holy son's eyes opened and closed, shining with a bright light. In the past, the supreme saint did not take Lu Ming seriously at all. He did not treat Lu Ming as an opponent. However, he felt a strong sense of danger now. The Supreme Holy Son's eyes flickered a few times before he turned around and left. Everyone, the door to my sect is open for all of you. From today onwards, if you wish to join Lu Ming's sect, you can look for Anhai and Lu Chong to register. Lu Ming pointed at Anhai and Lu Chong, his voice reverberating throughout the entire venue. Many people looked at Anhai and Lu Chong with envy. They knew that Anhai and Lu Chong would be highly valued by Lu Ming and become his trusted aides. In the future, they would be able to get whatever they wanted in the Kongxian sect. They were envious. If they had known that this would happen, they would have long sought refuge with Lu Ming. Anhai and Lu Chong were so excited that they were trembling. They were secretly glad that they had long sided with Lu Ming. Although they had gone through some storms before, they had finally made it out. Lu Ming turned around and left after making the announcement. In the next few days, there was a huge commotion in the Kongxian sect. The Tianhong Saint's son had fallen, and his faction had collapsed. Lu Ming's faction had risen. It turned out that many experts from the Tianhong Saint's son's faction had joined Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not reject anything and accepted them all. In addition, many powerhouses who were originally neutral came to join Lu Ming. Lu Ming's strength expanded rapidly, and he became a true saint sect. He had even surpassed the other Holy Sons and Holy Virgins, and was on the verge of competing with the Supreme Holy Son. In addition, the Elementalists had led some of the original members of the Tianhong sect to join the Supreme Saint. For a time, the Kongxian sect was in a state of turmoil, and a tense atmosphere spread. However, Lu Ming put all these aside and cultivated in peace. In the blink of an eye, a few months had passed. One day, Lu Ming suddenly received a voice transmission from Qiu Yu. 9 Orifice Saint Heart, this girl has finally come out of seclusion. Lu Ming revealed a smile. Qiu Yu had been cultivating in seclusion in the Divine Pulse Tower ever since she came to Kongxian sect with Lu Ming. She had been cultivating for 70 to 80 years. Now, he finally sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Lu Ming flew toward the Divine Pulse Tower. Young master, Qiu Yu was overjoyed to see Lu Ming. Qiu Yu, you finally come out of seclusion. Let's go back to where we're staying. Lu Ming smiled. Wait, young master, I still owe a lot of points. Qiu Yu said with a red face. That's right, kid. This girl has been cultivating for so many years. If she doesn't have enough points, she can't leave. An old man guarding the Guardian Meridian Tower said. So, it's like this. Lu Ming laughed. He had forgotten that Qiu Yu did not have many points. She had cultivated in the Divine Pulse Tower for so many years, so she would need at least tens of thousands of points. That was why she sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Otherwise, Qiu Yu would look for Lu Ming herself after she came out of her closed-door cultivation. Come, senior, this is my identity token. You can take it. Lu Ming took out his identity token and passed it to the elder. The old man took it and glanced at it. His eyes suddenly opened wide and he was shocked. The saint token, your holy son Lu Ming? The old man asked in surprise. It is. Lu Ming nodded. So your holy son Lu Ming. I've heard so much about you. The old man sized Lu Ming up curiously. He swiped his points and returned the holy son token to Lu Ming. Qiu Yu, let's go. Wait, your cultivation. As Lu Ming spoke, his eyes suddenly widened and he revealed a shocked expression. He was shocked by Qiu Yu's cultivation. Before this, he had not carefully sensed Qiu Yu's cultivation level. Now that he sensed it, he was shocked. Qiu Yu's cultivation had already reached the True God Realm, and she had actually reached the terrifying Stage 5 True God Realm. What was going on? When Qiu Yu and Lu Ming had first come to the Kongxian sect, they had only been demigods. However, in just a few years, Qiu Yu's cultivation had already soared to the 5th stage of True God Realm. This cultivation speed was simply shocking. It was even more abnormal than Lu Ming's. Lu Ming was already dumbfounded. Young master, Qiu Yu was just about to speak. Wait, let's go back and talk. Lu Ming held Qiu Yu's hand and flew toward their residence. When they returned to Lu Ming's residence, Lu Ming then asked Qiu Yu about the details. Young master, I don't know what happened either. After I broke through to the ethereal God realm, something in my body seemed to have awakened, making me sink into deep cultivation. I didn't expect that so many years would have passed by the moment I finished my cultivation. My cultivation has also risen to stage 5 true God realm. Qiuyu blinked her big eyes, also looking confused. Something in your body has awakened? What's that? Lu Ming was puzzled. Young master, I'll show you. Qiuyu nodded and then circulated her divine power. All of a sudden, a 9-colored light appeared from Qiuyu's heart. Then there seemed to be a 9-colored heart in Qiuyu's heart. It gave off an extremely mysterious aura. Lu Ming had no idea what it was, but he could sense that this 9-colored heart was extremely mysterious. It seemed to contain a terrifying power. Oh my God! This is the 9-orifice Saint Heart. This is the legendary 9-orifice Saint Heart. At this time, Bone Demon jumped out of the scroll and shouted in shock. 9-orifice Saint Heart? What was it? Also, why are you so excited? Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Bone Demon. Nonsense. You're talking nonsense. Anyone who sees a 9-orifice Saint Heart will be excited. This is a legendary Saint Heart. It's countless times more precious than your ancient God heart. The Bone Devil roared, completely losing its usual calm. Calm down, calm down. Come on, tell me, what's the use of the 9-orifice Saint Heart? Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Bone Demon. The 9-orifice Saint Heart is mysterious. I can't explain all its functions, but I know the most powerful thing about the 9-orifice Saint Heart is its cultivation. It's said that those who have awakened the 9-hold Saint Heart will cultivate at an amazing speed. Even if they eat and sleep all day without cultivating, their cultivation will automatically improve, and it's faster than others who cultivate painstakingly. Once you cultivate seriously, coupled with some opportunities, your cultivation will soar. Bone explained in a loud voice. Lu Ming was stunned as well. He widened his eyes and looked at Qiuyu. His lips were trembling non-stop. He could not remain calm. Even when he was eating and sleeping, his cultivation could still continue to improve. Furthermore, it was faster than other people's hard work. This was simply heaven-defying. Do you still want me to live? No wonder Qiuyu's cultivation had improved so quickly during this period of time. I know. This girl's talent in the past did not burst out at all. Her 9-orifice Saint Heart was only truly awakened when she broke through to the martial god realm and became a deity. Impressive, impressive. Lu Ming, I'm envious that you have such an impressive woman. The Bone Devil kept talking, his eyes red with envy. Of course, he was only a skeleton and had no eyes. Young master, what's wrong? It'll be fine, right? When Qiuyu saw Lu Ming's dazed look, she instantly panicked. It's fine, it's fine. Qiuyu, your talent is unparalleled. In the future, your cultivation will far surpass this young master's. I'm just surprised. Lu Ming quickly collected his thoughts and said, Oh really? How can my cultivation base surpass young master's? Hearing Lu Ming's words, Qiuyu smiled sweetly. She was so beautiful. Qiuyu, who had awakened her 9-orifice Saint Heart, was even more beautiful. She had a strange aura that made Lu Ming's heart skip a beat. Qiuyu, you're so beautiful. Lu Ming held Qiuyu's hand and praised her. Is that so? Qiuyu's face was red and smooth, making people want to take a bite. Of course it's true. Lu Ming smiled. Qiuyu, what you've awakened is called the 9-orifice Saint Heart. Your cultivation will be astonishingly fast in the future. However, you must not tell anyone about this, or it will be very troublesome. Lu Ming gathered his thoughts and warned him carefully. The 9-orifice Saint Heart was too amazing. Once it was spread, it would cause a great uproar. It would be hard to say whether it would be a blessing or a curse, so it was best not to spread it. Yes, young master. Qiuyu nodded obediently. Qiuyu, stay with me tonight. Lu Ming said in a low voice. Qiuyu was flustered and her heart was beating like a deer. This was what she had been looking forward to, but when it really came to this, she was still extremely nervous. Qiuyu, are you not willing? If you don't want to, I won't force you. Lu Ming said. No, Qiuyu shook her head and blushed. She lowered her head and said softly, I'm willing. Scared of Lu Ming's room was extremely warm. Lu Ming and Qiuyu fought to their heart's content. The two of them fought for 3 days and 3 nights before they hugged each other and fell asleep. After that, the two of them stayed together every day and cultivated with each other. Lu Ming would also guide Qiu Yu in her cultivation of the divine skill. After Qiu Yu had awakened her 9-orifice saint heart, not only did her cultivation speed increase at an astonishing speed, but her comprehension had also improved greatly. The speed at which he comprehended a divine skill was astonishing. Furthermore, Qiu Yu had already cultivated the Universe Thousand Dao Scroll to a very high level. Qiu Yu's divine power had already reached the peak of the divine grade divine power. If she were to improve further, she would be able to cultivate the divine power of the ruler of the divine grade divine power. By then, Qiu Yu would be able to cultivate other divine powers and form many divine fires. Her combat power would increase dramatically. Qiu Yu's future was limitless. Time flew by and 2 years had passed. In 2 years' time, Qiu Yu's cultivation had actually advanced another step and reached the 6th stage of True God Realm. Lu Ming's cultivation was still hovering around the 8th stage of True God Realm. At this moment, a piece of news spread in the Kongxian sect, causing a huge commotion. The higher-ups of the Kongxian sect had decided that the competition between the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins would be held 3 months later to decide who would be the Zongzi. A Zongzi would be the successor sect master, the future sect master. The entire Kongxian sect was shocked by this news. This was because the news had come from the Elder Council of the Kongxian sect. The Holy Sons and Holy Virgins immediately gathered the people from their factions to discuss this matter. Lu Ming immediately gathered the experts from his sect to discuss this matter. Holy Son, this is very strange. The cultivation of the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins isn't high enough. It'll take some time before the competition starts. One of the inner sect elders said. That's right. In the past, the competition was natural. It wasn't carried out in a specific way. Instead, it was natural for the Holy Sons and Holy Virgins to compete with each other, and the final winner would be the Zongzi. However, this time, the Senate has personally issued an order to hold the Zongzi contest in 3 months. This doesn't make sense. Another inner court elder said with a frown. Kongxian sect Senate was formed by the strongest group of people in Kongxian sect. The elders there were all divine kings and their status was far above the inner sect elders. Everyone started to guess, but they couldn't get a conclusion. Holy Son, Holy Maiden Qingxiang requests an audience. Suddenly, someone came to report. Holy Maiden Qingxiang, please come in. Lu Ming waved his hand. Not long after, someone welcomed Holy Maiden Qingxiang in. Lu Ming, you're probably discussing the Zongzi event that's going to be held in 3 months, aren't you? Ouyang Xiangxiang went straight to the point. Not bad. Holy Maiden Xiangxiang, do you have any news? Lu Ming said. I do have some news. I heard from my grandfather that the reason for the sudden Zongzi contest is mainly because some people in the Senate want to push the Supreme Holy Son up. Ouyang Qingxiang said. You want to push the Supreme Holy Son up? Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He did not doubt Ouyang Qingxiang's words. Ouyang Xiangxiang's grandfather, who was also Yuexin's father, was an important figure in the Kongxian sect. He was a member of the Senate and a God King. That's right. The Supreme Holy Son's background is extraordinary. His father's side and his mother's side are all major forces of the Kongxian sect. Each side has a doyen in the Senate and there's more than one. They're very powerful and have a very high influence in the Senate. This time it's the big shot behind the Supreme Holy Son who suggested this. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Could it be that the other board of patriarchs have agreed? Lu Ming said. Of course there are those who disagree. My grandfather disagreed. But the Supreme Saint Son's backing is too powerful. He has great influence in the Senate. More than half of the elders agreed to the meeting. It's difficult for the other elders to change their minds. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Why did the Council of Elders suddenly make this proposal? It's strange. An inner sect elder was puzzled. It's because of Lu Ming. Ouyang Qingxiang looked at Lu Ming. Because of me? Lu Ming was stunned. What did all of this have to do with him? It's very simple. Lu Ming, you've shown great talent and improved too quickly. It's only been a few years, and the Tianhong Saint Son has died at your hands. Who can compete with you in a few years? That's why the people behind the Supreme Holy Son are afraid. They're afraid that in a few years even the Supreme Holy Son won't be your match. At that time the position of the Kongxian sect master will fall into your hands. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Therefore, the people behind the Supreme Holy Sun made the first move to gain the upper hand. They proposed this plan. Before a match for the Supreme Holy Sun, we'll have a competition and then decide on the Zongzi candidate. Lu Ming followed Ouyang Qingxiang's words. Ouyang Qingxiang did not need to explain further. Lu Ming could already guess what she meant. The person behind the Supreme Holy Sun was afraid of Lu Ming. He was afraid that Lu Ming would surpass the Supreme Holy Sun and was forced to propose this plan. Not bad. Ouyang Qingxiang nodded. Interesting. Holy Maiden Qingxiang, what do you want to do? Lu Ming smiled. To be honest, Lu Ming had no interest in the Zongzi position. The purpose of his cultivation was to improve his strength, protect his family and friends, and break through to the God King realm as soon as possible so that he could find Xian Yanqing. Now there's only one way to fight against the Supreme Holy Sun, and that's to join forces. Let's work together. It'll help you become a Zongzi. Ouyang Qingxiang said. After saying that, he looked at Lu Ming with bright eyes. How about this? Let's work together. It'll help you become a Zongzi. Lu Ming smiled. You'll help me? Ouyang Xiangxiang was stunned. That's right. When we formed an alliance, I told you that you wouldn't regret it. To be honest, I'm not interested in the Zongzi position. However, among all these holy sons and holy virgins, you're the only one who's more suitable to become a Zongzi. What do you think? Lu Ming smiled. Is what you said true? Ouyang Xiangxiang's eyes were filled with joy. Of course it's true, Lu Ming said. All right. As long as I become a Zongzi and take over the Kongxian sect in the future, I will never forget you and your people. Ouyang Xiangxiang responded. In fact, she had come to look for Lu Ming with this intention. She had long noticed that Lu Ming's talent was too high and his goal was also very high. Lu Ming's heart would not be trapped in a place like the Kongxian sect or the Qintian galaxy. Therefore, she had long guessed that Lu Ming was not interested in the position of the Kongxian sect's sect leader. However, she had one. She needed Lu Ming's help. According to my speculation, the other holy sons and holy virgins may also join forces. I'm afraid it won't be easy for us to get through this. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Just do your best. Lu Ming smiled. The lifespan of a god, a star year. Ouyang Qingxiang's guess was right. When this news came out, the ones who were most shocked were the holy sons and holy virgins. The floating light Saint Sun, Jixia Saint Sun, Yenkong Saint Sun, and Xuetan Saint Daughter all looked terrible after hearing the news. Now they had no confidence in competing with the Supreme Holy Sun. 2 days later, the transient light Holy Sun arrived at the mansion of the Jixia Holy Sun. You want me to join forces with you to help you obtain the Zongzi position? Saint Sun Jixia sneered at the transient light Saint Sun. Not bad. The sacred sun of reflection nodded. Why don't you help me get the Zongzi's position? Saint Sun Jixia sneered. Because my strength is above yours. The sacred sun said. You sure are confident that you are above me. Saint Sun Jixia sneered. In the past, the Jixia Saint Sun, the transient light Saint Sun, and the Tianhong Saint Sun had all been of similar cultivation. Holy Maiden Xuetan, Ouyang Qingxiang, and Saint Sun Yenkong were slightly weaker. The Paragon Holy Sun was the strongest. Now that the sacred sun of reflection said he was stronger than the holy sun of Jixia, the holy sun of Jixia sneered. Boom! At this moment, the floating light holy sun's body started to shine. He seemed to have turned into a ball of divine light. 5th level celestial deity, you broke through. Saint Sun Jixia's expression changed. In the past, he, floating light, and Tianhong's cultivation had been at the peak of the 4th level heavenly god realm. He didn't expect the floating light holy sun to have already broken through to the 5th level heavenly god realm. This meant that the sacred sun of reflection was indeed more powerful than him. Do you understand now? I'm more powerful than you. Only if you help me will we have a chance to defeat the Supreme Holy Sun and Lu Ming. I can promise you that as long as I become the Zongzi and become the sect leader of the Kongxian sect in the future, you'll be my equal. The sacred sun said. Equal status? Saint Sun Jixia's eyes moved. That's right, we're on equal footing. It's better than the Supreme Holy Sun taking charge of the sect. Do you agree to it? The sacred sun said. Even if I agree to your request, I'm afraid that the two of us are no match for the Supreme Holy Sun. Saint Sun Jixia said. This time Ouyang Qingxiang and Lu Ming will definitely join forces. The two of us are indeed not enough. Next we'll look for Xuetan and Yan Kong. As long as the four of us join forces, we'll be able to fight against the Supreme Saint Sun. It's not impossible to defeat him. The Sacred Sun said. All right, I promise you. Saint Sun Jixia pondered for a while, then nodded in agreement. He also knew that in the current situation, only by joining forces could they contend with the Supreme Holy Sun. If they didn't join forces and fought alone, he had no chance of winning. Then they went to the Yankong Saint Sun's and the Xuetan Saint Sun's residences. After some persuasion, the Yankong Saint Sun and the Xuetan Saint Sun agreed to work with the transient light Saint Sun. Just like that, a few months passed in the Kongxian sect's turbulent environment. This day it was finally time to fight for the Zongzi position. The Kongxian sect, the place where the sect competition had been held, was packed with people. Holy Son Lu Ming is here. Holy Maiden Qingxiang is here. The Sacred Son of Reflection is here. Many people cried out in surprise. The 7 great holy sons and holy virgins of the Kongxian sect had arrived one after another. The Supreme Holy Son had his hands behind his back. He was full of dominance and high-spirited, looking down on all the heroes in the world. Only when he turned to look at Lu Ming would he reveal a trace of seriousness. Lu Ming, the paragon Holy Son muttered, his eyes solemn. Just as the 7 holy sons and holy virgins were sizing each other up, many figures flew out from the depths of the Kongxian sect. The one in the lead was the sect master of the Kongxian sect, Long Zhoushan. Behind him were a few elders, all of whom were elders of the Kongxian sect. This time, when the Council of Elders made this suggestion, the Dragon Boat Mountain did not object. No one knew what they were planning. Almost everyone's here. Dragon Boat Mountain's gaze swept across the entire place as his voice rang out. The entire place quieted down as they looked at Dragon Boat Mountain. They knew that Dragon Boat Mountain was about to announce the rules for this Zongzi competition. This Zongzi contest will be divided into 2 rounds. The one who spoke wasn't Dragon Boat Mountain, but an old man with white hair. This person was called Ji Zundong. He was an extremely old elder of the Kongxian sect. He had lived for a long time and was one of the oldest people in the Kongxian sect. He was also an ancestor of the Supreme Holy Sun. In fact, after breaking through to the martial emperor realm, it was said that one's lifespan would be endless. However, that was only a claim. Any living being had a limit to their lifespan. For example, in the heaven realm's primordial realm, martial sovereigns were said to have endless lifespans. Every 33,333 years, a heavenly tribulation would befall the Void Emperor, True Emperor, and Great Emperor, and many people would die under the heavenly tribulation. As for the heavenly emperor realm, there were no disasters and tribulations, and their lifespans were endless. In fact, this endless also had an end. That was because small worlds like the heaven realm and the primordial realm all had an end to their lives. For example, if the heaven realm and the primordial realm were destroyed, would the celestial the arch still be able to live? He would still die. The lifespan of a small kiliocosm would usually not exceed 10 billion years. In other words, a heavenly emperor's lifespan would not exceed 10 billion years. 10 billion years, how long was that? One tribulation took 33,333 years, while 10,000 tribulations only took 3 billion years. This was almost the same as having an endless lifespan. In the primeval universe, the lifespans of deities were similar to that of heavenly emperors. The longest they could live was only 10 billion years. In the primal universe, there was a saying that the lifespan of deities was the same as a star. The lifespan of a star was about 10 billion years, and the lifespan of a god was also 10 billion years. The lifespans of hollow gods, true gods, and heavenly gods were almost the same, with 10 billion years as the limit. When a star was extinguished, a god would also die. Therefore, most people would call 10 billion years a stellar year. However, the lifespan of a god king was much longer. The average god king's lifespan was more than 5 star years. Autarchs, for example, had already lived for 6 stellar years, which was equivalent to 60 billion years. It was equivalent to a small world like the heaven realm and the primordial realm, or a star going through 6 times from birth to destruction. No one dared to breathe too loudly as they listened quietly. First, let's talk about the qualifications. Only holy sons and holy virgins can participate. Each holy son and holy virgins can bring 3 helpers. The first round will be held on a planet that is about to dry up. This planet has already been occupied by the planet Devourer. Your goal is to kill the planet Devourer on this planet and obtain points. Planet Devourers are divided into 3 levels: Bronze Planet Devourers, Silver Planet Devourers, and Gold Planet Devourers. Killing a Bronze Planet Devourer will earn you 1 point. Killing a Silver Planet Devourer will earn you 5 points. And killing a Gold Planet Devourer will earn you 50 points. Alright, the holy sons and holy virgins who want to participate in the competition can sign up with me, the supreme martial artist announced. Chapter 2861 Three-Way Tussle Reading Omicronim Novel Cool. Omicronim Lise I see. The planet Devourer. Many people muttered as they pondered. Come up and register. Supreme Martial Artist Dong announced. I'll do it. The first one to register was the Supreme Saint. He stepped forward, signed his name on a stone tablet, and then stepped back. I'll do it. Next, it was the Sacred Son of Reflection's turn to sign his name. After the Sacred Son of Floating Light, Ouying Qingxiang also came forward to sign her name. Other than the 3 of them, the other holy sons and holy virgins stood still. You guys aren't coming up to register? The Supreme Martial Artist's gaze swept across Lu Ming, the Holy Son Jixia, the Holy Son Yin Kong, and the Holy Maiden Xuetan. I give up on this contest. I also give up. I also give up. Saint Sun Jixia, Saint Sun Yin Kong, and Saint Daughter Xuetan shook their heads. What? Most of the people present were shocked and looked at the 3 holy sons and holy virgins in shock. Ji Zundong's eyes narrowed slightly. The 3 of you giving up is because you want to help Floating Light deal with me. The Supreme Holy Son laughed coldly. Jixia, Yin Kong, and Xuetan didn't say anything. Their faces were calm, but deep in their eyes, there was still a trace of unwillingness. If it was possible, how could they give up so easily? He really had no choice. The others came to a realization. They finally understood why the 3 of them had given up. The main reason was that the Supreme Holy Son was too strong. If they didn't join forces, they wouldn't be able to compete with the Supreme Holy Son. That was why they had joined forces. Qian Kuan, do you have the confidence to win if they join forces? Supreme Being Dong secretly transmitted a message to the Supreme Holy Son. The Supreme Holy Son's name was Supreme Universe. Don't worry, forefather. Even if they join forces, they won't be my match. The Supreme Saint Son replied confidently. At the same time, he looked at the Sacred Son of Reflection and the others in disdain. Do you think you can fight me just because you're helping Floating Light? What a fool's dream. Floating Light, I think you should just give up on this idea. How do you know you're going to win if you haven't? The Sacred Son of Reflection responded strongly. He had already broken through to the 5th-tier celestial deity realm, and was much more confident. At the same time, he had also obtained the help of the other 3 holy sons and holy virgins. He might not be unable to contend against the Supreme Holy Son. You're very confident. When the time comes, you'll know what despair is. The Supreme Saint mocked coldly. Lu Ming, what about you? At this moment, the Supreme Being's gaze shifted to Lu Ming. I also give up the contest. Lu Ming smiled faintly. His words shocked everyone present. Lu Ming has given up too, what a pity. Holy Son Lu Ming's talent is definitely the strongest. He's definitely stronger than the Supreme Holy Son. In a few 100 or 1,000 years, it won't be a problem for him to surpass the Supreme Holy Son. It's a pity that this contest came too suddenly. Lu Ming probably withdrew because he's no match for the Supreme Holy Son. I guess so. Many people were discussing this. The Grandmaster's words made him very uncomfortable. He coldly snorted, and many people immediately shut up. Alright, since that's the case, then the 3 of you will compete. Each of you can bring 3 assistants. Remember, the people you bring must also be from the younger generation. Supreme Martial Artist Dong asked. The Supreme Holy Son pointed at the 3 of them, and 3 young men walked out from behind him. The 3 of them were undoubtedly very powerful. One of them in particular was qualified to become a saint, but in the end, he joined the Supreme Saint. The Sacred Son of Floating Light and the others sized him up. He was definitely a threat, not any weaker than them. They are the people I'm going to bring. The floating light Saint Sun looked at the Jixia Saint Sun, the Yenkong Saint Sun, and the Shuetan Saint Daughter. Saint Sun Jixia, Saint Sun Yenkong, and Saint Daughter Shuetan stepped out and stood behind the floating light Saint Sun. As expected, many people's hearts moved. This was within their expectations. The sacred sun of floating light was indeed going to bring along the three of them. The four great sacred sons and saintesses joining forces would definitely be an extremely powerful force. I'm going to bring them. Then Ouyang Qingxiang also spoke. Lu Ming and the other two young men and women stepped forward and stood behind Ouyang Qingxiang. Holy Son Lu Ming is indeed helping Holy Maiden Qingxiang. That's right. I heard that before Holy Son Lu Ming became a holy son, he was already very close to Holy Maiden Qingxiang. It's normal for him to give up on the competition and help Holy Maiden Qingxiang. Which of the three forces do you guys think is stronger and which is weaker? The people at the scene started to discuss. If nothing unexpected happened, the future Zongzi of the Kongxian sect would be the Supreme Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, and the Holy Maiden Qingxiang. On the surface, the Sacred Sun side is the strongest. They've gathered for holy sons and holy virgins. However, the Supreme Holy Sun's strength is unfathomable. With the help of another Holy Sun, I'm afraid that their overall strength is even above the Sacred Sun's. Think so too. The Supreme Holy Sun is too strong. I'm afraid he can fight against several Holy Maidens and Holy Sons alone. The weakest one must be Holy Maiden Qingxiang. There's no doubt about it. Although she has the help of the Lu Ming Saint, the Lu Ming Saint also gave it his all in the battle with the Tianhong Saint Sun. He's only slightly stronger than the Tianhong Saint Sun. If he and the Qingxiang Saintess join forces, they're definitely no match for the other two. It seems like the outcome of this battle will be decided between the Sacred Sun of Reflection and the Supreme Sacred Sun. In terms of overall abilities, many people did not think highly of Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. Lu Ming heard the surrounding discussions. However, he only smiled and did not care. To be honest, he wasn't confident and could only try his best. Alright, since the participants have been decided, let's set off. Before we set off, let me remind you that points are very important. The final result will be to combine the points from the 2 rounds. The one with the highest points will be the winner of this round. Men, set up the formation. As soon as Supreme Beast Move finished speaking, a few elders stepped forward and waved their hands. Array discs flew out and floated in the air. Soon, a teleportation array appeared in the sky. This teleportation array can directly teleport you to that dying planet. You can go now. The Grandmaster waved his sleeves. Bang! Bang! The Supreme Saint led his men and stepped into the teleportation array. Then they disappeared. Then, the Sacred Sun of Reflection led his people and stepped into the teleportation formation. Ouyang Qingxiang and Lu Ming were the last to step into the teleportation formation and leave the place. The rest of them waited where they were. The first round of the competition would last for 3 months. After 3 months, Lu Ming and the rest would return on time. The Planet Devourer reading Omicron N novel cool. Omicron M, Lise Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and 2 other men and women stepped into the teleportation formation. In the next moment they appeared in midair. Above their heads there was a vortex that was slowly spinning. 3 months later, they would be able to return to the Kongxian sect as long as they returned to this place. It seems that the 3 of us were teleported to different locations. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the room. He was with Ouyang Qingxiang and the other 2, but he didn't see the Supreme Saint Sun or the Transient Light Saint Sun. It was obvious that they had separated after being transported here. That's good. Let's go and find the Planet Devourer, Ouyang Qingxiang said. The 4 of them flew down. The ground below was deathly silent. A planet devourer was a terrifying creature in the primeval universe. This kind of creature would be born naturally when a planet was about to dry up. They would devour the energy of the planet and accelerate the aging and exhaustion of the planet. There were no trees on the ground and the divine chi was very thin. There were many caves on the ground, densely packed like a beehive. These caves were dug out by the planet devourer after devouring the energy of the planet. Let's go into these caves. The planet devourer must be hiding in one of them. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Lu Ming and the rest nodded and flew towards a cave. At this moment, a figure flickered in one of the caves, and then a figure rushed out. Squeak! The figure let out an ear-piercing sound. It's the planet devourer. The four people's eyes lit up. He did not expect to encounter a planet devourer as soon as he arrived. The body of the planet devourer was extremely large. It was at least 10 meters tall and looked like a huge insect. The two claws in front of its body were like two divine blades. Especially its mouth, it was big and sharp, full of fangs, very ferocious. Its body was bronze in color. This was the bronze planet devourer. A bronze planet devourer. Let me destroy him. The young man behind Ouyang Qingxiang stepped out with a battle axe in his hand. He was about to attack the bronze planet devourer. Ouyang Qingxiang had brought a man and a woman with her. Their names were Kong Chong and Lu Jia. They were the most talented Heaven's Pride talents under Ouyang Qingxiang. Although the divine power that the two of them controlled was not divine grade divine power, it was still the top king grade divine power. Moreover, their cultivation was at the 4th level heavenly god realm. Of course, they had been cultivating for a long time. They had cultivated for hundreds of thousands of years. Otherwise, they wouldn't have such profound cultivation. Among the inner court disciples of Kongxian sect, those who had cultivated for hundreds of thousands of years were considered to be in the younger generation. Kong Chong's aura bloomed as he circulated his divine power. His battle axe glowed as he slashed at the planet devourer with astonishing power. Squeak! The planet realm devourer shrieked. It twisted its body and pounced at Kong Chong at an astonishing speed. Its two claws, which were as sharp as divine blades, slashed at Kong Chong. So fast! Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were both shocked. Kong Chong was also shocked. He had not expected the planet devourer's speed to be so astonishing. At the critical moment, he let out a loud roar and changed his moves. The battle axe struck out like a storm. In an instant, he had struck out over 100 times, and the shadows of the axe surrounded his body. Clang! Clang! In the air, a dense collision and explosion sound rang out. Then the two figures retreated. Kong Chong and the planet devourer both retreated tens of thousands of meters. What powerful strength! Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others were shocked. This planet devourer was actually able to contend with Kong Chong. One had to know that Kong Chong's cultivation had reached the 4th level celestial deity realm, and his combat strength was definitely not weak. Otherwise, Ouyang Qingxiang would not have chosen him to help her. And this planet devourer was only a bronze-grade planet devourer, yet it had such strong combat power. Then how strong would the silver devourer, the gold planet devourer, be? The few of them looked at each other and saw the seriousness in each other's eyes. It seemed that it would not be easy to get the points. Kill! At that moment, Kong Chong roared, brandished his battle axe, and used a divine skill to attack the bronze planet devourer. The bronze planet devourer also shrieked and charged at Kong Chong. The two of them fought intensely, and after dozens of moves, it was difficult to determine the winner. Let's attack together and end the battle quickly, let's go, Ouyang Qingxiang said as she rushed out. A green sword chi bloomed and slashed at the bronze planet devourer. Buzz! The sword chi slashed at the planet devourer's sharp claw and left a deep mark, almost cutting the claw in half. Although Ouyang Xiangxiang's cultivation was also at the 4th level celestial deity realm, her strength was much stronger than Kong Chong's. Her first move completely suppressed the planet devourer. Song of the Green Lotus Sword die! Ouyang Qingxiang shouted. Green sword chi bloomed and enveloped the planet devourer. Although the planet devourer was powerful, he was still completely suppressed. After a few moves, the sword light flashed and the planet devourer's head was cut off. With a wave of her hand, Ouyang Qingxiang kept the planet devourer's head. When the time came, she would only need to bring the planet devourer's head back to calculate the points. Let's go. Then the four of them rushed into a cave. The entire planet seemed to have been dug through. It was filled with caves that extended in all directions like a maze. The four of them followed a cave and flew aimlessly. Unfortunately, after searching for a few hours, he didn't find a single devourer. It seems like there aren't many planet devourers. Lu Ming frowned. Then what should we do? If this continues, 3 months will pass by very quickly. If we're unlucky and don't find many planet devourers, we won't be able to compete with the other two sides. Kongchong said anxiously. In Kongchong and Lu Jie's hearts, their side was the weakest. They couldn't compare to the Supreme Saint Sun and the Transient Light Saint Sun. Thus, this round was extremely important. If their points in the first round were higher, they could still compete with the other two teams. If their points in the first round were not as high as the other two teams, then there was really no point in competing. The devourer's habit is to devour the energy of a planet, so it must be very sensitive to energy. Let's leave these caves and go to the surface. Then we can use divine crystals or gemstones to emit energy waves. Perhaps it can attract the devourer. Lu Ming said. Ouyang Xiangxiang, Kongchong and Lu Jie's eyes lit up. Holy Sun, Lu Ming is really sharp. Kongchong is impressed. Kongchong cupped his fists and said, "Let's go and try." Lu Ming said. Then the four of them flew upwind. They could not be bothered to return through the tunnel. They bombarded the rocks directly and broke through the rocks until they reached the surface. Chapter 2861 Consecutive Battles. Reading Omicron N. Novel. Cool. Omicron M. Lease. After reaching the surface, they took out a large number of divine crystals, precious gemstones, and all kinds of blacksmithing materials. They activated them with divine power, sending energy fluctuations far and wide. The few of them just waited like that. In the blink of an eye, a few hours had passed. Squeak! A sharp voice came from the distance. "They're here." The eyes of Ouyang Qingxiang and the others lit up. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the distance, a few figures rushed over like lightning. There were a total of 5 planet devourers, all of which were bronze level. Hard work paid off. This method was really useful, and 5 of them were attracted at once. Kongchong, Lu Jie, the 2 of you will deal with 1 planet devourer each. Leave the remaining 3 to Holy Sun, Lu Ming and me. After Ouyang Qingxiang assigned everyone their tasks, she flashed and rushed out. A green sword light bloomed in her hand as she attacked the 2 bronze planet devourers. As for Kongchong, Lu Jie and Lu Ming, they each charged at one. Boom! In the process of rushing out, Lu Ming activated the 4-fold combat power of the battle formula and thrust his spear forward. A ray of spear radiance stabbed at a planet devourer. Clang! The planet devourer waved its sharp claws and slashed at Lu Ming like a divine knife. It collided with the long spear and a violent tremor erupted. Lu Ming felt a sharp and terrifying force surging towards him, and he could not help but take a few steps back. The planet devourer was also sent flying by Lu Ming. His strength is indeed shocking. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Then 9 ice chains flew out and wrapped around the other party. Lu Ming did not use his ancient god body. Although the ancient god body was powerful, it also consumed a lot of physical strength. After using it once, he had to rest for at least 2 days before he could use it again. Therefore, Lu Ming would not use his ancient god body under normal circumstances. After casting the ice chain, Lu Ming cast the divine dragon materialization art. A 9-clawed divine dragon flew out and pounced at the bronze devourer. Apart from the ancient god body, Lu Ming had used all his tricks. He was able to suppress the bronze planet devourer. The 2 of them engaged in an intense battle. However, Lu Ming did not use his ancient god body. His combat strength was not as strong as Ouyang Xiangxiang's. It would not be easy to kill the bronze devourer. After exchanging dozens of moves, Lu Ming seized an opportunity and used the moon slash. He broke the bronze devourer's stomach and severely injured it. Then the 9 ice chains took the opportunity to bind the bronze planet devourer tightly, causing its body to stiffen. Moon slaying. Lu Ming swept his long spear across. A crescent-shaped spear ray flashed and the bronze devourer's head was cut off. With a wave of his hand, he kept the bronze devourer's head and looked in another direction. At this moment, Ouyang Xiangxiang had already taken care of 2 bronze devourers, but Kongchong and Lu Jie were each fighting a bronze planet devourer. Ouyang Qingxiang and Lu Ming each rushed to one person to help the other kill the bronze planet devourer. Very quickly, the remaining 2 were also killed by them. In total, they had killed 6 bronze-grade planet devourers and gained 6 points. This amount of points was naturally too little. However, this method of attracting people was useful. They continued to attract more. Unfortunately, for the rest of the day, not a single planet devourer came. It seems that all the planet devourers nearby have come. Let's change locations. Lu Ming suggested. They nodded and put away the divine crystals and gemstones. Then they chose a random direction and flew away. After flying for more than 10 million miles, they estimated that they were close enough. They stopped, put down the divine crystals and gemstones, and continued to attract the planet devourer in this way. They're here. So many. Kong Chong suddenly exclaimed. This time, in less than an hour, squeaking sounds could be heard from the distance, coming from different caves. Then from some of the caves, many planet devourers rushed out. 10. This time there were 10 of them, all of them bronze-grade planet devourers. Their expressions were grave. Kong Chong, Lu Jie, the two of you join forces and pay attention to your own safety, Ouyang Qingxiang instructed Kong Chong and Lu Jie. Facing so many bronze-grade planet devourers, with Kong Chong and Lu Jie's strength, they were in danger. Holy Maiden, don't worry. Don't worry about us. Lu Jie said. Kill. Lu Ming was very straightforward. He held the spear and charged at the bronze devourer. As he charged, Lu Ming's body expanded rapidly, turning into a green-armored ancient god that was 100 meters tall. With so many planet devourers coming at once, Lu Ming could not care less about holding back his strength. Otherwise, it would be difficult for Ouyang Qingxiang to fight against so many bronze-grade planet devourers alone. After transforming into an ancient god, Lu Ming's strength skyrocketed. His long spear swept out like a mountain range. Boom! One of the planet devourers was sent flying by Lu Ming's sweep. It crashed into a mountain and the mountain shattered. The planet devourer was already half dead. Lu Ming's strength was stronger than Ouyang Qingxiang's after he used the ancient god body. He could completely crush the bronze-grade planet devourer. Squeak! There was a shrill sound. 5 planet devourers pounced on Lu Ming from 5 directions at an alarming speed. Break the air, Lu Ming cast the 3 apocalyptic strikes in a row. 5 spearlights burst out and stabbed the 5 planet devourers. Bang! Bang! Although the power of the 5 consecutive strikes had weakened, it still suppressed the 5 planet devourers and sent them flying. 3 apocalyptic strikes, moon-cutting. Lu Ming rushed to one of them. He swept his spear and killed the planet devourer. Then, he attacked the other one. At the same time as Lu Ming made his move, Ouyang Qingxiang also made her move. She performed the Green Lotus Sword Song, and green lotus flowers appeared one after another. The sky was filled with sword chi, and the 4 planet devourers were shrouded in it. At the same time, Kong Chong and Lu Jie also went up to help Ouyang Xiangxiang. In an instant, a bronze-grade planet devourer was killed by Ouyang Xiangxiang. Kill, kill, kill. Lu Ming alone killed the other planet devourers and completely crushed them. With every move, 1 planet devourer was killed by Lu Ming. In a short while, the 5 planet devourers were all killed by Lu Ming. Including the first one, Lu Ming had killed 6 of them. At this moment, Ouyang Qingxiang and the others were about to end their battle. Out of the 4 planet devourers, 3 had been killed. Only 1 was left. Whoosh! Ouyang Xiangxiang slashed with her sword, and the last planet devourer was beheaded. However, at this moment, Lu Ming's pupils constricted and he roared, "Be careful. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 2862 Silver Devourer reading Omicron and Novel Cool. Omicron and least be careful. Lu Ming roared. At this moment, a ray of light suddenly flashed from one of the caves below. This ray of light was silver in color and was like a heavenly blade. It slashed toward Ouyang Xiangxiang at an astonishing speed. Fast, it was too fast. This ray of light completely enveloped Ouyang Qingxiang, Kong Chong and Lu Jie. At that moment, it was too late for Ouyang Qingxiang to dodge. And even if she could avoid it, Kong Chong and Lu Jie couldn't. Green Lotus Sword Domain Die! Ouyang Qingxiang shouted. Beams of green sword chi bloomed from her body, forming lotus flowers that surrounded the 3 of them. Bang! The ray of silver light slashed at the green lotus, causing it to explode and shatter. The ray of light continued to bombard Ouyang Qingxiang's body. Ouyang Qingxiang had already used her protective divine skill, and was wearing a protective armor. However, when she was hit by the attack, her body flew out and she spat out a large mouthful of blood. Holy Maiden! Kong Chong and Lu Jia were shocked and rushed toward Ouyang Qingxiang. At the same time, Lu Ming cast the 9 heavenly Kuanpeng technique and seemed to have transformed into a huge Kuanpeng. In a flash, his 100-meter-tall figure stood in front of Ouyang Qingxiang and the others, looking forward. At this moment, the silver light finally revealed its true appearance. It was a silver planet devourer. It looked almost the same as the bronze devourer from before, but it was silver in color. Silver-tier planet devourer. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. For silver-grade planet devourers, killing one would give 5 points. The silver devourer's eyes were cold as it stared at Lu Ming. Suddenly, it twisted its body and turned into a silver light, charging at Lu Ming. Ice chains appear. Lu Ming muttered and the 9 ice chains flew out towards the silver planet devourer. However, the silver planet devourer's speed was extremely shocking. It flashed continuously in the air and dodged the attack of the ice chains. It continued to attack Lu Ming. Break the air, Lu Ming's long spear burst out and he stabbed more than 10 times in an instant. This time, the silver planet devourer no longer dodged. It waved its sharp claws and slashed at Lu Ming. Clang! Clang! In an instant, the two of them had exchanged more than a dozen moves. Lu Ming felt a terrifying force traveling along the long spear, numbing his arms and forcing him to retreat. What a terrifying power! Lu Ming was secretly shocked. After the collision just now, Lu Ming was shocked to discover that the strength of the silver planet devourer was above his. He had the ancient god body, but his power was still suppressed. Squeak! With a sharp cry, the silver planet devourer's 2 sharp claws slashed at Lu Ming like a storm. Lu Ming brandished his long spear and fought with all his might. 9 ice chains were continuously swung out, but they were easily shattered by the opponent's sharp claws. However, Lu Ming still had a lot of divine power. After the ice chain was broken, it continued to condense. In this way, the cold air on the ice chain still had some effect on the silver planet devourer. Roar! The dragon's roar shook the sky. Lu Ming cast the divine dragon materialization art, and a 9-clawed divine dragon pounced forward with a roar. Lu Ming used all his means and finally stabilized the situation. Lu Ming, I'm here to help you. Ouyang Qingxiang stabilized her injuries and her divine power surged. A huge green lotus flower appeared and pressed down on the silver planet devourer. Endless sword qi continued to attack the devourer. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang joined forces and finally turned the tables. They finally began to gain the upper hand. Although the silver planet devourer was powerful, it had to defend against Ouyang Xiangxiang's attack and Lu Ming's attack at the same time. It was at a disadvantage. Moon slaying. Lu Ming waved his long spear and attacked the silver devourer frantically. Bang! The silver planet devourer tried its best to resist, but it was sent flying a few thousand meters. Green lotus sword domain. Ouyang Xiangxiang pressed her hands down, and small green lotus flowers appeared around the silver planet devourer. The endless sword qi left scars on the silver planet devourer. After being besieged by Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang, the silver planet devourer finally lost and was completely suppressed. They exchanged dozens of moves. Lu Ming's spear pierced through the silver planet devourer's mouthpart. Then, Ouyang Qingxiang slashed out with her sword and cut off the silver planet devourer's head. Hoo-hoo! Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang often exhaled. They had finally dealt with the silver planet devourer. The strength of the silver planet devourer was beyond their imagination. It was too powerful. Lu Ming could barely fight against it alone. He was not the silver planet devourer's match. In addition, Ouyang Xiangxiang had to fight for a long time before she could kill the silver planet devourer. Lu Ming's body shrank and returned to his normal form. He felt a sense of weakness, which was caused by the great consumption of his physical strength. Lu Ming had the measure formula and he had an endless supply of divine power. However, physical strength was not divine power. Transforming into ancient god form consumed a lot of energy, and the longer he maintained it, the more energy he consumed. Of course, as Lu Ming's divine body became stronger, his physical strength would also become stronger. Physical strength was related to the strength of one's divine body, not divine power. Let's go. We'll leave this place and find a place to rest, Lu Ming said. Ouyang Qingxiang and the others nodded and left in a flash. They found a hidden place and stopped. Ouyang Xiangxiang had been ambushed by the silver planet devourer, and had suffered serious injuries. Lu Ming also needed to recover his strength. They stayed here for 2 days, and after 2 days, everyone's condition had already recovered to its peak. We still have to be careful. Don't release too many divine crystals or gemstones to avoid attracting too many planet devourers. Lu Ming suggested. Last time they had only attracted 1 silver planet devourer, and they had almost been in danger. If there were more of them, they would be in danger. It would be even more terrifying if a gold planet devourer came. If the silver planet devourer was already so powerful, one could only imagine how powerful the gold planet devourer was. I didn't expect the planet devourer to be so powerful. I wonder how the Supreme Saint Sun and the Transient Light Saint Sun are doing. Kang Chong sighed, slightly worried. The planet devourer was too powerful. He and Lu Jie had not been of much help when they had entered, and he felt a little guilty. No need to think too much, let's go. Ouyang Qingxiang patted Kang Chong and Lu Jie's shoulders and was about to leave. Wait a moment. Lu Ming suddenly called out. Brother Lu, what's wrong? Ouyang Xiangxiang asked in surprise. Be careful. Is there something underground? Lu Ming said with a grave expression. There's something underground? Ouyang Xiangxiang, Kang Chong, and Lu Jie's expressions changed as they focused their senses. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know, report, so we can fix it as soon as possible. The Injured Golden Devourer reading Omicron in novel cool. Omicron lease boom. 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 Ouyang Qingxiang and the others sensed around, and indeed, they heard a muffled sound coming from underground. It was as if something was traveling underground and was coming toward them. Lu Ming and the other 3 circulated their divine power and set up a defense around their bodies. They focused their senses. Boom. 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 The rumbles from the ground grew louder and louder, and so did the tremors. Up in the air. Lu Ming's expression suddenly changed and he shouted, Bang! At this moment, the ground exploded and a golden ray of light shot towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not have much time to think. He waved his long spear and placed it in front of him. Clang! With an earth-shattering sound, Lu Ming's body was sent flying backward, smashing through a mountain peak. Lu Ming! Saint! Ouyang Qingxiang and the others were shocked. Don't worry about me. Quickly get into the air. Lu Ming roared and rushed out of the rubble. He soared into the sky, a trace of blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. At the same time, Ouyang Qingxiang and the others also rushed into the sky. Bang! The ground exploded, and a huge creature appeared on the ground. The planet devourer. The only difference was that this planet devourer was extremely burly. Standing on the ground, it was at least 30 meters tall and was completely golden in color. The gold planet devourer. Lu Ming and the other 3 felt their hearts tremble. Kang Chong and Lu Jie's faces were especially pale. The gold planet devourer had actually come to find them. No, this planet devourer is injured. Look, there's a wound on its abdomen. Lu Ming suddenly spoke. Ouyang Xiangxiang and the others looked carefully and saw many wounds on the golden planet devourer. That seems to be a fist mark. What terrifying power. Who could leave a fist mark on the golden planet devourer? Kang Chong's face turned pale. It's the Supreme Divine Fist. It's the work of the Supreme Holy Sun. This golden devourer might have escaped after being injured by the Supreme Holy Sun. Just happened to come to our side. Ouyang Qingxiang said. An injured gold planet devourer. A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. No wonder he felt that although the devourer of the gold planet was strong, it was not too strong. After all, he was caught off guard just now. Moreover, he had blocked the other party's attack in his normal state. Kill him, Lu Ming said coldly. All right. Ouyang Qingxiang was also a decisive person, so she immediately nodded. 1 gold planet devourer was worth 50 points. One needed to kill 50 bronze planet devourers or 10 silver planet devourers to get that amount of points. Since they had encountered an injured golden devourer, they could not miss it. However, it was clear that they wanted to kill the golden planet devourer, and the golden planet devourer wanted to kill them too. Squeak! The gold planet devourer let out a sharp cry and stomped on the ground. The ground exploded and the gold planet devourer turned into a few gold sabers. It soared into the sky and charged toward Lu Ming, Ouyang Xiangxiang and the others. Kill! Lu Ming shouted and his body began to grow rapidly, turning into an ancient god that was 100 meters tall. He held his spear and charged at the golden planet devourer. Song of the Green Lotus Sword. Ouyang Qingxiang also made her move. A sword chi as thick as a mountain slashed at the golden planet devourer. Boom! Boom! The attacks of the two sides collided, creating a violent explosion and spreading energy everywhere. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's bodies trembled and they retreated backward. However, the golden planet devourer's body also drifted back tens of thousands of meters. This move was evenly matched, but Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's faces revealed joy. This golden planet devourer was indeed injured, and its combat power was severely affected. They could still fight it. Song of the Green Lotus Sword. Sword shaking the world, die! Ouyang Qingxiang shouted. Her entire body was enveloped by a green sword light. A huge green lotus flower appeared under her feet. Its petals spun and wrapped around her. She seemed to have turned into a green sword chi that descended from the sky and slashed at the golden planet devourer. Ice Chains, Divine Dragon Phenomenon, 3 world-ending strikes. In an instant, Lu Ming used all kinds of divine skills and secret skills. All sorts of attacks were launched at the golden planet devourer at the same time. Squeak! The golden planet devourer shrieked. Its 2 front claws were like 2 golden sabers. When it slashed out, 2 golden divine lights burst out. Boom! Boom! The attacks from both sides dissipated, but they didn't stop at all. Both sides launched their next round of attacks. Kong Chong and Lu Jia couldn't interfere in this battle at all, so they could only wait at the side. They could only see 3 figures flashing and colliding in the air, creating terrifying waves of energy. Every time they collided, rings of energy ripples would spread out in all directions. The two of them could only retreat. The two sides fought to the death. Divine Dragon Materialization Art. Lu Ming let out a long howl. He felt the blood in his body boiling, and a dragon's roar came from his body. Roar! Roar! 2 dragon roars were heard. 2 9-clawed divine dragons appeared above Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming's Divine Dragon Materialization Art had a breakthrough at the critical moment and condensed 2 divine dragon images in one go. The 2 9-clawed divine dragons roared and pounced on the golden planet devourer from 2 directions. Up until now, the two sides had been fighting for nearly 100 moves. The gold planet devourer was injured in the end, and its combat strength had been greatly reduced. In addition, its injuries had flared up during the fierce battle, and it was gradually losing to Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. Holy Maiden Qingxiang, you trap it for a while. It'll attack its injured area. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Ouyang Qingxiang. Leave it to me. Ouyang Xiangxiang replied. Green Lotus Sword Domain die. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted as she waved the sword in her hand in a mysterious way. Endless Green Lotus Sword Chi burst out and formed a Green Lotus Sword realm, pressing down on the golden planet devourer. The Green Lotus Sword domain formed by the boundless sword chi wasn't very powerful, but it was very effective in trapping enemies. The golden planet devourer was suppressed by the Green Lotus Sword domain. Although it waved its 2 front claws to split the Green Lotus Sword domain, it was still blocked by the endless sword chi and its movements were still stiff. Lu Ming wanted this opportunity. 3 apocalyptic strikes break the sky. Lu Ming became one with the spear and turned into a dazzling spear ray. He cut through the void and stabbed at the golden planet devourer. Lu Ming was aiming at the fist mark on the chest of the golden planet devourer. The golden planet devourer was covered in a layer of armor. It was very hard and difficult to break. However, the carapace on its abdomen was the thinnest, and it had been injured. There were a few fist marks, which was its weakness. Lu Ming's long spear accurately pierced the golden planet devourer's abdomen, leaving a fist print. Break! Lu Ming let out a long howl, and his divine power burst out madly. Poochie! The spear finally pierced through the golden planet devourer's shell. Chapter 2864 Pursuit Reading Omicron N Novel Cool. Omicron M. Least Lu Ming's long spear pierced through the gold planet devourer's carapace, all the way to the handle. A powerful divine power rushed out madly and exploded in the gold planet devourer's body. Squeak! The gold planet devourer let out an ear-piercing shriek. It waved its two front claws wildly and slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression changed. He could not be bothered to pull out his long spear. He retreated rapidly and avoided the attack of the Golden Planet Devourer. Boom! Boom! The Golden Planet Devourer went completely crazy. Its front claws slashed wildly, instantly destroying the Green Lotus Sword domain. It then turned into a golden stream of light and fled into the distance. This beast has such a strong life force. Lu Ming was also shocked. Just now, his spear had pierced through his opponent's body, and his divine power had exploded from his body, but he had not been able to kill him. Lu Ming, are you going to give chase? Ouyang Qingxiang asked. Chase? Of course we're going after him, let's go. Let's go, Lu Ming said. He moved and chased in the direction of the Gold Planet Devourer. One Gold Planet Devourer was worth 50 points. Now that the other party was seriously injured, this was a once-in-1,000 years opportunity. How could he miss it? If the Golden Planet Devourer was in perfect condition, they would definitely not be able to kill it. Let's go. Ouyang Xiangxiang, Kongchong, Lu Jie, and the rest also chased after Lu Ming. The two sides, one chasing and one fleeing, flew hundreds of thousands of miles in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming cast the 9 heavenly Kuanpeng technique and was extremely fast. He was slowly closing the distance between him and the Golden Planet Devourer. But at this moment, the Golden Planet Devourer rushed into a hole on the ground and disappeared. Lu Ming's expression changed and he rushed into the cave. However, he had no choice but to stop. That was because the cave was densely packed and crisscrossed like a maze, and the Golden Planet Devourer had disappeared without a trace. What a pity! Lu Ming sighed to himself. The other party had actually escaped and he had lost 50 points. Lu Ming flew out of the cave. Ouyang Qingxiang, Kongchong, and Lu Jie chased after him. Lu Ming, how is it? Ouyang asked in a delicate voice. There are many other tunnels under this cave. The devourer has disappeared into the cave. Lu Ming shook his head and smiled. It can't escape. At this moment Lu Jie suddenly spoke. That's right. I was born with a star sky seal, and its greatest use is to track. When you were fighting, I secretly attached a star sky seal to the Golden Planet Devourer. I can track its whereabouts with the star sky seal. Lu Jie said confidently. Really? Lu Ming was overjoyed. It's true. Lu Jie has indeed mastered the starry sky seal. Ouyang Qingxiang said. Alright, then we'll track him immediately. When his injuries recover, he'll be hard to deal with. Lu Ming said. Lu Jie nodded her head and began to perform the seal technique. On her body, starlight constantly shone, forming a mysterious rune. This was what Lu Jie had since she was born. Lu Ming was secretly amazed. Indeed, there were all kinds of people in the chaotic universe. This way, let's go. After a while, Lu Jie spoke and flew in one direction. Everyone followed Lu Jie. They had been chasing for half a day before they finally stopped in the air above a dark crack. I can feel it. The Gold Planet Devourer is right under this crack. Lu Jie said. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others sized up the crack. The crack wasn't wide and it was dark. He couldn't see what was below, but it was obvious that this crack was very deep. Why do I have a vague feeling of danger? Ouyang Xiangxiang frowned. I have the same feeling. I'm afraid there are other devourers down there. Lu Ming said. Then what should we do? Ouyang Qingxiang asked. Unknowingly, Ouyang Qingxiang had already paid more attention to Lu Ming's opinion. How about this, the two of us will go down, Kongchong and Lu Jie will stay on top. Lu Ming said. He and Ouyang Xiangxiang were powerful and had many trump cards. If anything happened, they could save their lives. If Kongchong and Lu Jie went down, they would be in danger. How can the two of us stay up there alone? We have to go down together. Not bad. Kongchong and Lu Jie spoke one after another. They were very loyal to Ouyang Qingxiang. No need, you guys stay up there. Ouyang Xiangxiang waved her hand, cutting through metal and leaving no room for doubt. Kongchong and Lu Jie could only nod in agreement. However, Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang could not go down immediately. As Lu Ming had transformed into an ancient god body, he had used up a lot of energy and had not recovered yet. Lu Ming sat cross-legged in the air. He took out a few divine pills and swallowed them. These divine pills could restore one's strength extremely quickly. If Lu Ming were to recover normally, He would need 2 days to recover his physical strength to its peak. However, with this divine pill, Lu Ming had recovered to his peak in just 2 hours. Let's go. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang stepped out and floated down to the crack. The two of them didn't dare to be careless. They both activated their defensive divine skills, which covered their bodies. Lu Ming activated the 9-layer crimson gold armor. A crimson gold armor covered his body. Ouyang Xiangxiang's body was enveloped by a green lotus. The crack was very deep and the two kept going down. The deeper they went, the bigger and wider the space below. Squeak! An ear-piercing scream suddenly came from the walls on both sides of the crack. Be careful, Lu Ming reminded. Before Lu Ming could finish his sentence, the wall on one side suddenly exploded. A silver light slashed toward Lu Ming. Silver Planet Devourer. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed and he thrust his long spear forward. The long spear was lost on the Gold Planet Devourer. However, Lu Ming had more than one long spear. Before this, Lu Ming had already purchased several long spears. They were all high-grade divine artifacts that were specially used by heavenly god-level powerhouses. Buzz! The spear collided with the Silver Planet Devourer, creating a loud boom and forcing both parties to retreat. Song of the Green Lotus Sword. Ouyang Qingxiang seized the opportunity and charged over. Her sword chi swept across and enveloped the Silver Planet Devourer. At the same time, Lu Ming conjured the Divine Dragon Materialization Art. 2 9-clawed divine dragons pounced at the Silver Planet Devourer. At the same time, Lu Ming cast the 3 apocalyptic strikes at the Silver Planet Devourer. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang joined forces. In addition, Lu Ming's strength had increased a little. Very soon, they began to suppress the Silver Planet Devourer. Just as they were about to kill the Silver Planet Devourer, another shrill scream came from not far away. Then, with another flash of silver light, another Silver Planet Devourer came at them. Not good. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's faces darkened. There were 2 Silver Planet Devourers here. The two of them could deal with 1 Silver Planet Devourer, but it would be difficult to deal with 2. Ouyang Xiangxiang's breakthrough reading Omicron in novel cool. Omicron M. Lise the Planet Devourer at the back pounced on Ouyang Qingxiang, while the Silver Planet Devourer at the front attacked Lu Ming with all its might. Lu Ming went all out, but he could only fight to a draw with the Silver Planet Devourer. However, Ouyang Qingxiang was no match for it. She was completely suppressed by the Planet Devourer behind her, and her situation was precarious. Whoosh! The Silver Planet Devourer's claw cut through Ouyang Qingxiang's protective green lotus, and almost cut her in half. Although she managed to avoid it, a bloody gash still appeared on her body, and she was bleeding. This is bad. Lu Ming frowned. But now he was being held back by a Silver Planet Devourer, and could only protect himself. It was almost impossible to save him. Ouyang Qingxiang was injured and her situation was even more dangerous. She was forced to retreat by a Northern Bank Planet Devourer. Green Lotus awakens. Ouyang Xiangxiang's eyes were filled with determination as she shouted. Her body emitted a blinding radiance as boundless sword chi gathered into a huge green lotus that enveloped her. Buzz! Buzz! The Silver Planet Devourer's sharp claws slashed at the green lotus. The green lotus trembled and sparks flew, but it was still blocked. However, the Silver Planet Devourer attacked crazily. Its 2 sharp claws were like lightning, slashing out hundreds of attacks in an instant. The green lotus around Ouyang Qingxiang's body trembled more and more violently. If this continued, it would not be able to hold out for long. What do we do? As Lu Ming fought with the Silver Planet Devourer, he quickly thought of a countermeasure. Ouyang Qingxiang definitely wouldn't be able to hold on for too long. If this continued, her defeat was only a matter of time. Now there was only one path before Lu Ming, and that was to burn his ancient god heart. By burning the ancient god's heart, Lu Ming's strength would definitely soar, but the consequences would also be very serious. After the ancient god's heart was burned, it would be reduced to nothing. It was even hard to say if Lu Ming could still transform into an ancient god body in the future. It was possible that if the ancient god's heart was burned, he would not be able to transform his ancient god body in the future. That would be a great loss to Lu Ming. However, if she didn't burn her ancient god heart, Ouyang Qingxiang would most likely die here. Lu Ming was a little hesitant. Bang! Bang! The Silver Planet Devourer's attacks landed on Ouyang Qingxiang's green lotus flower, causing it to shake more and more violently. Gotcha! Finally, a crack appeared on the green lotus, and the number of cracks increased rapidly. I don't care. Lu Ming gritted his teeth. He could not leave them to die in such a situation. He decided to start burning his ancient god heart. However, at this moment, the green lotus around Ouyang Qingxiang exploded with a loud bang. At the same time, a powerful aura burst out. Without a doubt, this aura belonged to Ouyang Qingxiang. However, it was much stronger than before. This is 5th level heavenly deity. Lu Ming was stunned. At the moment of crisis, Ouyang Qingxiang actually broke through, breaking through to the 5th level celestial deity in one go. In the celestial deity realm, the gap between each level was huge. Every breakthrough of a level would increase one's battle strength by a large margin. Furthermore, for a genius like Ouyang Qingxiang, the power of her secret skills and divine skills had also increased sharply. Whoosh! A green sword chi bloomed from Ouyang Qingxiang's hand and slashed toward the Silver Planet Devourer. Buzz! Sparks flew in all directions as the Silver Planet Devourer was sent flying by Ouyang Xiangxiang's slash. It crashed into a wall, and gravel flew everywhere. Green Lotus Sword Song Kill Die! Ouyang Qingxiang shouted. A bright sword light exploded and slashed at the Silver Devourer. When she was at the 4th level celestial deity realm, Ouyang Qingxiang's strength was not as good as the Silver Planet Devourer. However, after her breakthrough, her strength was completely above the Silver Planet Devourer and even Lu Ming. The sword light enveloped the Silver Planet Devourer. The situation was completely different from before. Previously, Ouyang Qingxiang was at a disadvantage against the Silver Planet Devourer. But now Ouyang Qingxiang was completely suppressing the Silver Planet Devourer. Buzz! Whoosh! The sword light and the Silver Planet Devourer kept colliding. After dozens of collisions, Ouyang Qingxiang seized the opportunity and cut open the Silver Planet Devourer's abdomen with one strike, severely injuring it. Then, a ray of sword light swept out and killed the Silver Planet Devourer. After killing the opponent, Ouyang Xiangxiang rushed toward Lu Ming and the Silver Planet Devourer that Lu Ming was fighting. The two of them joined forces and naturally crushed the Planet Devourer. After a few moves, they killed the other party. Then, he put away the two Silver Planet Devourers' heads. Holy Maiden Qingxiang, you're amazing. You managed to break through at the critical moment. Lu Ming smiled. I was lucky this time. I had no choice but to risk my life just now, but I didn't expect to succeed. Ouyang Xiangxiang smiled. With Ouyang Xiangxiang's breakthrough, they were more confident. As long as they did not encounter too many Silver Planet Devourers at once, they had nothing to fear. Hence, they slowly descended again. After that, they didn't encounter a single Planet Devourer. It seemed like the two Silver Planet Devourers from before were all the Planet Devourers. Not long after, the two of them finally arrived at the crack. There was a huge underground space under the crack. It was very spacious and there were many passages leading in all directions. On the other side of the space, they saw the Gold Planet Devourer. It was the one that they had injured earlier. The long spear that Lu Ming had stabbed the Devourer with had been pulled out and thrown aside. Its wound had already stopped bleeding, but its breathing was still very weak. In Lu Ming's previous move, the divine power had exploded directly in its body, blowing up the internal organs of the Gold Planet Devourer. If it had not been for its strong vitality, it would have died. Squeak! Seeing Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang, the Gold Planet Devourer let out a sharp cry. Its eyes were filled with hatred and cold-killing intent. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang slowly approached the Gold Planet Devourer, ready to launch a fatal blow. Squeak! At this moment, a sharp cry was heard from one of the side passages. Then Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang saw a huge Planet Devourer crawling out. This Planet Devourer was also golden in color. It was another gold-grade Planet Devourer, and this one looked like it was in its best condition and was not injured. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's expressions changed drastically. Even if Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang joined forces, they would not be a match for the Golden Devourer at its peak. Not good, we're retreating. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Ouyang Qingxiang. The two of them soared into the sky, planning to leave this place. Chapter 2866 Burning. Ancient Gods Heart Reading Omicron in Novel Cool. Omicron M. Lease however at this moment, a golden light flashed from another direction. Then a huge creature appeared above Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's heads. Several golden lights slashed at Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang with a terrifying whistling sound. Not good. At the critical moment, the two of them burst out with their own attacks to resist. However, the attacks that were aimed at them were too powerful. Their bodies shook violently and they were blasted to the ground. They landed heavily on the ground and created two large pits. The two of them felt their bodies go numb, and their qi and blood churned. They almost vomited blood. The third gold planet devourer. Ouyang Qingxiang's voice trembled. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. It was another gold planet devourer that had attacked them. There were 3 gold planet devourers here. The gold planet devourer that had appeared behind them was suspended in the air, blocking their retreat. The second gold planet devourer slowly strolled toward the two. Squeak. Just as Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were thinking of a way to escape, sharp sounds were heard from a few other directions. Then Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang saw golden figures crawling out of the caves one after another. Gold planet devourers. They were all gold planet devourers. Lu Ming glanced around and saw 10 of them. In addition to the one that they had injured earlier, there were 11 of them. Their hearts continued to sink. There were 11 gold planet devourers here. The two of them couldn't even defeat one gold planet devourer, let alone 11 of them. It's over, it's over. Lu Ming, I've implicated you this time. Ouyang Qingxiang's face was as white as snow. Facing 11 gold-tier planet devourers, no matter how strong they were, they would die without a doubt. We might have a chance to fight. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold light. Go all out, there was no other way, he could only go all out. It seems like he'll have to burn the ancient god heart today. Lu Ming sighed. When he was dealing with the 2 silver planet devourers, he had already planned to burn the ancient god heart. However, after Ouyang Qingxiang had a breakthrough, he naturally did not need to burn it. At first, he thought that there was no need to burn the heart of the ancient god. He never expected that there were actually 11 gold-grade planet devourers here. This was simply a gold-grade planet devourer's lair. Lu Ming, there's a way? Ouyang Qingxiang was bewildered. She really couldn't think of any way to deal with 11 gold-grade planet devourers at the same time. Stand behind me, Lu Ming said. Ouyang Qingxiang trusted Lu Ming very much. When she heard that, her figure flashed and she appeared behind Lu Ming. At this moment, they were surrounded by 11 gold-tier planet devourers. Squeak. The 11 gold-grade planet devourers shrieked, emitting cold killing intent. Whoosh! 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 All of a sudden, other than the injured planet devourer, the other 10 pounced on Lu Ming at the same time. Come, ancient god's heart burn! Lu Ming roared, and the ancient god was instantly set ablaze. As the ancient god's heart burned, waves of majestic energy rushed out and gushed into every part of Lu Ming's body. In an instant, Lu Ming's ancient god body grew stronger. Roar! Lu Ming let out a violent roar, as if an ancient god had come back to life. Buzz! Lu Ming shook his long spear and stabbed more than 10 times in an instant. More than a dozen spearlights burst out with shocking power and stabbed at the 10 gold-grade planet devourers. Bang! 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 The bodies of the 10 gold-grade planet devourers were sent flying by Lu Ming like cannonballs. They crashed into the surrounding walls, causing the entire underground space to shake violently. Ouyang Qingxiang was dumbfounded. Lu Ming's combat strength had increased by a large margin in an instant. He had sent 10 gold-grade planet devourers flying by himself. His combat strength was already far above that of the Supreme Holy Sun. As for Lu Ming, he was only at true god level. Ouyang Qingxiang's heart was in turmoil. The 10 gold-grade planet devourers let out sharp cries and rushed out of the rubble, charging at Lu Ming. Furthermore, the gold-grade planet devourer that was injured earlier also charged at Lu Ming. As for Ouyang Xiangxiang, she was completely ignored by the gold-grade planet devourers. In their hearts, Lu Ming was the biggest threat. As long as they got rid of Lu Ming, they could kill Ouyang Xiangxiang at any time. Die! At this moment, Lu Ming's body seemed to be filled with a brutal aura. There was only one word in his heart, and that was fight. Battle! 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 Lu Ming waved his long spear and stabbed it fiercely at the abdomen of a gold-grade planet devourer, ignoring the other planet devourers. Lu Ming's long spear pierced through a gold-grade planet devourer and pinned it to the ground. At the same time, the attacks of the other gold-grade planet devourers had already landed on Lu Ming. "Be careful!" Ouyang Qingxiang exclaimed. Buzz! Buzz! Whoosh! The sharp claws of the other golden devourers slashed at Lu Ming's body. However, the sharp claws from before did not manage to cut through Lu Ming's body. The green scales on the surface of Lu Ming's body became extremely hard. The gold-grade planet devourer's sharp claws slashed on the scales on Lu Ming's body, producing clanking sounds and sparks, leaving shallow white marks on them. "Kill!" Lu Ming shouted and stabbed another gold-grade planet devourer with his spear. He grabbed another gold-grade planet devourer with his other hand and crushed it. Lu Ming was too powerful when he was burning the ancient god's heart. He completely crushed the 11 gold-level planet devourers. Next, Lu Ming unleashed his lightning-like methods and started a terrifying massacre. The terrifying gold-grade planet devourers were killed by Lu Ming one after another. Not long after, the 11 gold-grade planet devourers were all killed, lying on the ground. Ouyang Qingxiang was dumbfounded and completely stunned. Hoo. At this moment, Lu Ming was panting heavily. His body was shrinking rapidly, turning into the size of an ordinary person. He felt a sense of weakness as if he was about to faint. The ancient god's heart is almost extinguished. Lu Ming sensed the ancient god's heart and realized that it was dead silent. It was not as vigorous as before. He was afraid that he could not even use the ancient god body. Fortunately, all 11 golden devourers have been killed. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. As long as he could keep his life, the temporary losses were nothing. "Lu Ming, are you alright?" Only then did Ouyang Qingxiang come to her senses and ran toward Lu Ming. "I'm fine." Lu Ming smiled. "Ha, good, very good. You actually killed more than 10 of my good-for-nothing subordinates. Very good." At this moment a sharp laugh rang out. Chapter 2868 Purple Copper Coffin opens. Please visit Oxful. Omicron M to enjoy reading. Just as Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang heaved a sigh of relief, a shrill laughter rang out, and their expressions changed. "Who is it?" Ouyang Xiangxiang shouted. This voice was very unfamiliar to her. It didn't belong to the sacred sun of reflection or the supreme sacred sun. "Kacha. A voice came from one of the caves. Then a huge figure crawled out of the cave. Without a doubt, this huge creature was a planet devourer, and it was completely golden. Another gold-tier planet devourer. Moreover, this gold-grade planet devourer was very different from the gold-grade planet devourer that had appeared before. This gold-grade planet devourer actually had 3 heads and 6 extremely sharp front claws. It looked very horrifying. Not good, it's a mutated gold-grade planet devourer. Its strength is several times stronger than a normal gold-grade planet devourer. Bone shouted in his sea of consciousness. Lu Ming's heart sank. This one was actually a mutated gold-grade planet devourer, which was several times stronger than a normal gold-grade planet devourer. How could they fight it? Given Lu Ming's current physical condition, he was not even a match for a silver-grade planet devourer, let alone a gold-grade one. Furthermore, this planet devourer could speak, unlike the previous planet devourers. Human brat, you're really powerful. You have so many trump cards. Luckily, I'm smart enough to let those idiots come out first. Now what do you have to fight me with? Go to hell." The mutated golden planet devourer shrieked. It waved its sharp claws and slashed at Lu Ming. A golden ray of light slashed at him. "Song of the Green Lotus Sword, die." Ouyang Qingxiang shouted and stood in front of Lu Ming. She used all her strength to cast the Song of the Azure Lotus Sword. A huge sword chi slashed forward. With Ouyang Xiangxiang's current cultivation at the 5th level celestial deity realm, her full power was astonishing. However, when her sword light clashed with the mutated gold-ranked devourer's light, her sword light instantly shattered. Ouyang Qingxiang groaned and her body flew far away. She hit the wall and spat out a large mouthful of blood. One of her battle armors was split open, revealing a wound that was so deep that her bones could be seen. With just one move, Ouyang Qingxiang was severely injured and no longer able to fight. You want to stop me with such strength? You're simply looking for death. The mutated golden planet devourer let out a sharp laugh and looked at Lu Ming coldly. Kid, your cultivation is very low, but you're so powerful. There must be a secret. I can feel that your flesh and blood are full of energy. It must be delicious. As long as I eat you, my strength will definitely rise by a large margin. Hee. The mutated gold-gray planet devourer's scarlet tongue sneered, and it walked towards Lu Ming unhurriedly. Senior Bone, what should we do now? Lu Ming was seeking help from the bone demon. Kid, don't count on me. With my current condition, I can't beat this mutated gold-grade planet devourer. Your only hope now is that purple copper coffin. Bone said. That purple copper coffin? Lu Ming was puzzled. That's right, that purple copper coffin is as heavy as a mountain. If we use it to sneak attack, we might be able to heavily injure it. You guys can take the chance to escape. Bone said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. This was the only plan they had now. With a single thought, Lu Ming's glabella lit up and the scroll flew out, flying towards the mutated gold-grade planet devourer and above its head. A broken painting scroll, break for me. The mutant golden planet devourer let out a sharp laugh, its sharp claws slashing towards the painting, trying to tear it apart. Smash it! Lu Ming roared and controlled the scroll. The scroll shook and a purple bronze coffin fell from the scroll, smashing heavily towards the mutated gold-level planet devourer. Buzz! Buzz! Whoosh! The mutated gold-grade planet devourer's sharp claws kept slashing at the purple copper coffin, making clanking sounds. However, it could not slow down the speed of the purple copper coffin's descent at all. Bang! The purple coffin was as heavy as a mountain. It fell on the mutated golden planet devourer, almost crushing one of its heads. The mutant gold planet devourer was pressed to the ground, its 6 claws flailing about madly struggling. It's really useful. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He did not expect the purple copper coffin to be so heavy that it could crush the mutated gold planet devourer. This is a good opportunity. How could Lu Ming miss this opportunity? He mustered all his remaining strength and charged at the mutated gold planet devourer with the long spear in hand. Whoosh! Lu Ming aimed his spear at the neck of the mutated golden planet devourer. However, the other party's head tilted to the side. Lu Ming did not stab his neck. Instead, he stabbed the carapace on the other party's head. There was the sound of a nail being nailed and sparks flew in all directions. Lu Ming did not penetrate the other party's defense. Lu Ming was not in his ancient god body state. There was a huge difference between their abilities. As long as he did not hit his opponent's vital points, he could not even break through his opponent's defense. You want to hide? Let's see how you can hide. Lu Ming's long spear continued to thrust out, specifically aiming for the other party's soft vital points such as the eyes and neck. You want to kill me? Don't even think about it, die, die, the mutated golden planet devourer roared madly. Its 3 heads writhed and its 6 sharp claws reached out randomly. A few of its claws grabbed onto the purple copper coffin, trying to push it open. Gotcha! Suddenly, a cracking sound came from the purple copper coffin. That was because the mutated golden planet devourer's sharp claws had grabbed the lid of the purple copper coffin. Just now the lid had been pushed a little. Gotcha! Then the lid of the coffin was pushed a little bit more, and there was a small gap between the lid and the body of the coffin. Roar! At this moment, a roar came from the gap of the purple copper coffin. This roar was earth-shattering, causing Lu Ming's eardrums to ring and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Then, a terrifying aura emanated from the purple copper coffin, enveloping Lu Ming and the mutated golden planet devourer. Roar! Roar! The roars from the purple bronze coffin became even more terrifying. A terrifying force pressed down on Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming could not move at all. It was as if he was being controlled. Even his senses were being controlled. Everything before his eyes was pitch black. However, in the next moment, his eyes lit up again. Then, he realized that he had actually arrived in the universe. In the starry sky, there was an incomparably huge giant whose fist was bigger than a planet. Ancient god. Lu Ming's heart was beating wildly. This was clearly an ancient god. The ancient god roared and punched out. In the starry sky, planets exploded one after another. The scene was extremely terrifying. Ancient God body in green armor. Please visit Oxville. Omicron M to enjoy reading, but the next moment, the scene changed again. Lu Ming came to the other side of the boundless starry sky. He saw a group of ancient gods in this starry sky. Yes, not one but a group. This group of ancient gods. Each of their bodies was indomitable and incomparably huge. Each one of them exuded a terrifying aura. The entire universe trembled under such pressure. These ancient gods seemed to be fighting with something. It was simply destructive. The universe's starry sky shattered and exploded one after another. Lu Ming even saw the galaxies exploding and being destroyed. Such a scene was truly shocking. However, the next moment the scene changed again. Lu Ming saw a purple bronze coffin floating in the starry sky. It kept floating and he did not know where it was floating to. Lu Ming had been drifting in the starry sky. He did not know how long it had been. He was sleepy and slowly fell into a deep sleep. He didn't know how much time had passed before he woke up again. What greeted his eyes was an underground cave. Lu Ming, are you all right? A crisp sound was transmitted to Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming turned his head and saw Ouyang Qingxiang's concerned gaze. I'm fine. Lu Ming smiled and then looked around. He was still in the same underground cave, but the mutant gold planet devourer was dead. His entire body was shriveled, and the golden armor on his body was extremely dim. There was no sign of life, as if all the essence in his body had been sucked away. The purple copper coffin was still suppressing the mutated golden planet devourer. However, the lid of the coffin, which had been slightly open, was now completely closed without a single gap. What were those things I saw just now? Was it the strange phenomenon in the purple copper coffin? Also, why is the mutated gold planet devourer dead? But I, Ouyang Qingxiang, am fine. Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind and he had many questions. It's dangerous, kid. It's really dangerous this time. I'm in big trouble because of you. Bone Demon's voice came from his sea of consciousness. Lu Ming's inner consciousness discovered that the Bone Demon was lying on the scroll. The bone armor, which was originally shiny, had dimmed and looked listless. Senior, what's wrong? Lu Ming asked. It's all because I helped you close that purple gold coffin. Bone shouted. Purple copper coffin? Senior, what exactly is in that purple copper coffin? The mutated gold planet devourer. Did it die because of the purple gold coffin? Lu Ming asked the question in his heart. That's right. The mutated gold planet devourer died because of the purple copper coffin. As for what's inside the purple copper coffin, I don't know either. Maybe there's the corpse of an unparalleled master buried inside. Or maybe there's an entire world or a part of history buried inside. Bone muttered, his eyes shining with a serious light. Buried an entire world, a piece of history? Lu Ming was puzzled. It was understandable to bury an expert, but to bury an entire world, a piece of history, what was going on? My guess is that the origin of this purple copper coffin is shocking. I don't know what's in it, but it's very dangerous. No, extremely dangerous. It's a good thing that I only opened a small crack this time. Otherwise, God knows what would have happened. It would have been extremely terrifying, and you and I would have both died. Kid, don't try to open this purple copper coffin so easily in the future. Bone warned. Lu Ming nodded. Kid, this time I really suffered a great loss in order to cover the purple copper coffin. You, on the other hand, got a great bargain. Bone said unhappily. I picked up a big bargain? Lu Ming was puzzled. However, he was stunned at the next moment. He realized that his body was filled with power. His ancient god heart was beating with great strength, and his chi and blood were surging to the extreme. Previously, he had burned the ancient god's heart and almost used up all of its energy. But now it had recovered and was even more powerful than before. Lu Ming had a feeling that his ancient god body had made a breakthrough. If he could turn into an ancient god body now, he might not only be a green-armored ancient god, but a level 5 green-armored ancient god body. At the thought of this, Lu Ming's heart thumped. He planned to give it a try. After greeting Ouyang Qingxiang, Lu Ming's body continued to grow. In the end, he turned into an ancient god that was 200 meters tall. The scales all over his body were no longer green, but had turned blue. It really was the green-armored ancient god. Lu Ming was ecstatic. At that moment he felt that he had an endless amount of energy in his body. He was many times stronger than before. My cultivation has also broken through and reached the limit of stage 9 true God realm. Lu Ming was pleasantly surprised to discover that his cultivation had also broken through. Not only did he reach the 9th stage true God, but he had also reached the limit of the 9th stage true God. He was not far from the celestial God level. What's going on? Could it be related to the strange phenomenon I saw earlier? Lu Ming's imagination ran wild. What he had just seen was all about the ancient gods. An ancient god destroyed one planet after another with a single punch and traversed the starry sky. It was terrifying to the extreme. In another scene, a group of ancient gods was fighting with the enemy. The scene was even more shocking. The universe's starry sky was shattered, and the entire galaxy collapsed. All of this was definitely related to the purple copper coffin. A blessing in disguise. It was really a blessing in disguise. Lu Ming's face was full of smiles. Previously, he had burned his ancient god's heart and fought fiercely with the gold planet devourer. It was best that the energy of the ancient god's heart was almost exhausted. Lu Ming thought that he would never use the ancient god body again. He did not expect that not only could he use the ancient god body, but it had also evolved to the green-armored ancient god. He had even broken through in his cultivation, saving him a lot of time. The bone demon was right. Lu Ming had really picked up a great bargain. At that moment, Lu Ming felt that he had let the bone demon down. Lu Ming gathered his thoughts and transformed back into his human form. At the side, Ouyang Qingxiang had been in a state of shock. It took a while before she regained her senses. "Miss Ouyang, let's pack up and go out," Lu Ming told Ouyang Qingxiang. "And okay. Only then did Ouyang Qingxiang nod her head repeatedly. This time it was really a great harvest. Previously, Lu Ming had killed 11 gold planet devourers. The mutated gold planet devourers did not give specific points. Lu Ming and the rest just treated it as an ordinary gold planet devourers. However, the mutated gold planet devourers had 3 heads, which was equivalent to 3 gold planet devourers. In total, there were 14 gold planet devourers. This was an astonishing harvest. Needless to say, they definitely had the most points in this competition. They didn't believe that the Supreme Saint Sun and the Transient Light Saint Sun would have so many points. Chapter 2871 Whose harvest is greater? Please visit Oxville. Omicron M. To enjoy reading, the two of them flew out of the underground crack and met up with Kong Chong and Lu Jia. When Kong Chong and Lu Jia found out that Lu Ming and the rest had killed 14 gold planet devourers, they were stunned and could not react for a long time. There was still a long time before the 3-month deadline. They didn't go out and killed some planet devourers while they were at it. In the days that followed, they didn't encounter any gold planet devourers, but they did encounter some silver and bronze planet devourers. Now that Ouyang Qingxiang had a breakthrough in her cultivation and Lu Ming's combat strength had increased, it was much easier to kill devourers. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, he could easily kill the silver planet devourer, even if he was facing it alone. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. 3 months later, Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the other two returned to the passageway they had entered from. Once the 3-month period was up, they flew into the vortex and returned to the Kongxian sect's competition ground. The Kongxian sect was still crowded. 3 months' time was just a blink of an eye to everyone. It would pass by in a short time. "Look, they're out," someone suddenly called out. Then, everyone saw figures appear in the teleportation array in the sky. The Supreme Saint Sun, the Transient Light Saint Sun, Lu Ming, and the others appeared almost at the same time and sized each other up. 4 people went in from each side and 4 people came out. There was no loss. I wonder how many planet devourers you've killed? Let's take a look. The Supreme Saint's gaze swept across the sacred sun of reflection, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others as he spoke coldly. "You'll know in a moment." The sacred sun of reflection snorted. Ouyang Xiangxiang's expression was calm, and she did not say anything. However, Kong Chong and Lu Jia's eyes revealed a hint of anticipation and excitement. They were looking forward to the expressions of the Supreme Holy Sun and the others when they saw their gains. The others in the surroundings were also making guesses. "I wonder which side will gain more this time?" That goes without saying. It must be the Supreme Holy Sun. With his combat power, he can definitely kill many planet devourers. That's right. I still stand by my original judgment. The Supreme Saint is first, and the Transient Light Saint is second. As for Ouyang Xiangxiang and Lu Ming, they are definitely the weakest. Some people were very firm and still believed that Ouyang Qingxiang and Lu Ming's side were the weakest. Okay, now, take out the planet devourers you've killed. 1 point for the bronze-grade planet devourers, 5 points for the silver-grade planet devourers, and 50 points for the gold-grade planet devourers. The Supreme Doyen of the Senate stepped out again and announced loudly, "Floating Light, didn't you want me to know how many planet devourers you've killed? Take it out and let's see." The Supreme Saint looked at the Transient Light Saint Sun and the others. In the Supreme Saint's mind, the biggest competitor this round was still the Sacred Sun of Reflection. After all, the Sacred Sun of Reflection had 4 Sacred Suns and Saintesses working together. As long as he knew what the Sacred Sun of Reflection and the others had obtained, he would have more confidence. The Sacred Sun snorted and stepped forward. With a wave of his hand, the heads of the planet devourers flew out and floated in the air. There were silver ones and bronze ones. Lu Ming took a glance and saw the number. There were 12 silver planet devourers and 52 bronze devourers. There were a total of 64. Lu Ming was not too surprised by the number. Currently, the Sacred Sun of Reflection was also at the 5th level Heavenly Deity realm. His combat strength was definitely not weaker than Ouyang Qingxiang's. With the other 3 Sacred Suns and Saintesses working together, killing a silver-grade planet devourer would definitely not be a problem. It was normal for them to kill 12 in 3 months if they cooperated well. The Supreme Holy Sun swept his gaze across and revealed a relaxed look. 12 silver-grade planet devourers, 60 points in total. 52 bronze-grade devourers, 52 points. A total of 112 points. The Supreme Martial Artist announced. The crowd didn't speak. Most of them didn't have much of an idea of the planet devourer's strength, so they didn't have much of an idea about 112 points. He also needed to know the points of the others and compare them before he could come to a conclusion. Only 112 points and you want to compete with me? The Supreme Holy Sun chuckled and stepped forward. With a wave of his hand, the heads of the planet devourers flew out. There were silver and bronze. 18 silver planet devourers' heads and 80 bronze planet devourers' heads. The Sacred Sun of Reflection's expression turned extremely ugly when he saw this number. The Supreme Saint looked at the Reflection Saint Sun smugly, then at Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. He chuckled and said, "Do you think that's all I've gained? Then you guys better watch carefully." After saying that, the Supreme Holy Sun waved his hand again, and another planet devourer's head flew out. The head of the planet devourer was golden in color. The head of the gold planet devourer. Seeing the head, the Floating Light Saint Sun, Jixia Saint Sun, Yenkong Saint Sun, and Shuetan Saint Sun all turned pale. Even Ouyang Qingxiang and the others had a grave expression on their faces. The Supreme Holy Sun and the others were actually able to kill a gold-grade planet devourer. Their strength was truly shocking. A smile appeared on Jizun's old face as he loudly announced, "On the side of the Supreme Universe, we have killed a gold planet devourer, 18 silver planet devourers, and 80 bronze planet devourers. We have obtained a total of 220 points." The Sacred Sun's face turned even uglier. The points that they had obtained were only about half of the Supreme Sacred Sun's. The difference was too great. The crowd was in a heated discussion again. As expected of the Supreme Holy Sun, he actually obtained 220 points. That's almost double the amount of points the Transient Light Holy Sun has. The Sacred Sun of Floating Light has 4 Sacred Suns and Saintesses working together. If they were to split up, wouldn't they be even worse off? The gap is too big. The difference is indeed shocking. Among all the Holy Suns and Holy Virgins, the Supreme Holy Sun is the best. I knew that no one could defeat the Supreme Holy Sun. I haven't even calculated the points of Holy Maiden Qingxiang and Holy Sun Lu Ming. Needless to say, Holy Maiden Qingxiang and Holy Sun Lu Ming have the least number of people. I bet they won't have more than 100 points. In the midst of the discussion, the Supreme Holy Sun turned his gaze to Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. "You two, where are your gains? Take them out and have a look," the Supreme Saint said with a relaxed expression. He also felt that Lu Ming and the rest's gains would definitely not exceed that of the Sacred Son of Reflection and the rest. You're tuning into the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.